This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, plus our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We're your host,
Cheryl.
And Jay.
Hey. Okay, so this week we have a two-piece combo. We will be reviewing X-Men 97 and Fallout. My trivia today is just for, I guess I could have did both, but I only did one. My trivia for today is for X-Men 97. Tell me when your mind is ready.
My mind is ready.
Okay. According to Bo DeMayo, two characters could not be used in X-Men 97. So two Marvel characters.
Okay.
Which are they?
Wow.
I'll narrow it down for you.
Okay.
One of them, okay. One of them currently has a franchise in the MCU.
Okay.
Let me take that back. Both of them do. They're both male characters.
Who was it in Black Panther?
That's one. He specifically T'Challa was one. He could not use.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So they didn't use T'Challa.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sure. Who else wasn't in it? Thor?
No. You want more? You want another guess?
They have an MCU franchise, and they weren't in it. Captain America was in it. Iron Man was in it. Yeah. Hulk was in it. Thor was in it.
Was the Hulk in 97?
So
that's not the right answer, but
I
can't remember.
He Morph did a Hulk cameo.
You're right.
Who wasn't in it? Hawkeye?
No.
A male in the MCU that has a franchise that.
Come on, he closer than you think. Wink, wink, wink. His movie is
Ant-Man?
No.
His movie is close. Winter Soldier?
Oh my God, sir! His movie is closer than you think.
Blade?
Okay, you too close. Okay, he has a movie coming out.
Falcon?
Okay, closer than Falcon.
He has a movie coming out Deadpool.
Oh my God! I cannot believe it took you that long.
Sorry.
Two characters he couldn't use were Deadpool and T'Challa. There was no reason given for Deadpool. DeMaio says that Kevin Feige has put an embargo on T'Challa because of Chadwick Boseman's death. However, it works in the show because they end up using T'Chaka instead of T'Challa.
Which is very interesting because other than him verbally clarifying that wasn't T'Challa, you wouldn't know because
that's true. They do they say T'Chaka in I feel like they say his name.
Because they wear the T'Challa also that's his beginner costume.
Right.
With the cape and the collar. So
interesting.
You wouldn't know. But
yeah, there was some, people are very upset the fact that they haven't recasted T'Challa, but I think they're going to wait until they put him back in a movie before they would put him back in a animated series.
I mean, yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you did not do as well as I thought you were going to do with this trivia.
No, I guess literally every other male character in the MCU.
You literally was naming the whole roster. I'm like, sir, closer than you think.
Didn't even cross my mind.
Just jump right over Deadpool.
All right. Well, that is the trivia for this episode that I flopped at terribly. Let's get into the rest of the episode. Okay. Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so we have a very healthy episode for you guys this week.
So super sad.
So we got a lot of movie and show announcements, especially from Disney because they just had the Disney 2024 Upfront this year. We also have some casting news on some shows that we already were aware of. We'll have a nice visit to the trailer park this episode.
Full at capacity. No vacancy.
A healthy serving, a very healthy serving of Bunch of Crunch at the end of the episode. And then we'll get into our double feature movie review of the week, which is for Fallout and X-Men 97.
Woohoo! So we got the pleasure of not attending, but hearing about Upfront 2024. It is an event that that the studios use to show marketers and advertisers what's coming up. So the advertisers can say, hey, I want to purchase ad space for this or for that. Amazon, WB, and Disney. I don't know if those were the only three, but those are the big three that had like stuff that was announced. So we'll start with Amazon first. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is getting renewed for season 2. If you were a fan of that show, congratulations. Season 2 is coming. However, Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, I think is her name, is not expected to return. Now, I semi-read up on this, and I think people who watched the show kind of expected this. I don't want to spoil it, but this is not a shocker to those of us, people who have watched the show. It is a shocker maybe to us who didn't watch the show.
So basically, Mr. and Mrs. Smith could be any couple.
Yes, it seems like it's a moniker, perhaps, but
like James Bond or Mad
Max.
Max.
But something that happened in season 1, people are like, "Oh, I'm not surprised." So I'm like, "Okay, if y'all okay, I'm okay." Apparently, the show was good though.
Yeah, it was very well received after not being
advertised.
No, it was advertised. It just wasn't people before seeing the show. People didn't think it was going to be good, or they weren't interested in it.
We are people. I am people.
Because the show was not sexy enough and did not have the underlying scandal. But
it sounds bad when I say it, but it
turns out none of that matters if you have good writers.
Yes, so people like the show.
The show was still well received.
I don't know if I'm going to go back and watch it.
I think this makes me more interested, if anything.
That they're going to switch out the couple?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope they continue to do that. It can be like its own anthology thing where there are different Mr. and Mrs. Smiths.
They're doing the beef.
Missions. Yeah.
The beef thing.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Okay, cool. They don't have any other details about season 2 other than it's coming. So we'll see.
He's going to film Lando. I'm sure she'll pick up something after this if she is not already in the works.
Is Lando confirmed?
I think Lando is actually happening. Okay. I don't think it's necessary, but it's happening.
Okay, sure.
In other movie or show announcements, Nicolas Cage will star in a live adaptation of the Spider Noir character.
People thought this was coming already.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, well, people really wanted it because of how good he was voice acting in the Across the Spider-Verse films.
I read a little bit about with it. So this Spider-Man is like an older detective Spider-Man?
Yeah, this Spider-Man is closer to Batman than the rest. I mean, he's a Spider-Man.
Does he wear his suit?
Yeah, okay. He wears a black suit with not a cape. He has a trench coat.
Okay,
and
so
a
he's
top
cold.
Hat. Yeah.
Okay.
He's based in like, I don't know the exact time period. I don't know if it's like 1950s or something,
so
but
it's throwback.
His universe is throwback. It's black and white.
Oh.
Like black and white TVs.
I don't know if I like a whole show in black and white.
And he's like a detective.
So he's like Dick Tracy.
Yes.
Carmen Sandiego.
He's more like Rorschach.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
People were very excited about. I mean, who doesn't like Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, it's very interesting that it's going to be live action because I'm not sure. I don't know that much about Spider-Man Noir lore, but I don't think he's that much older. I don't think he's as old as Nicolas Cage is, but I mean, I guess that does not matter. Right. I'm just thinking about he's not as action oriented.
Oh, okay. So this is really gonna be like
he's like Batman,
like Law and Order.
He's more like grappling hook and investigations than he is like web slinging around.
Okay,
New York and stuff like that.
Interessante.
So, yeah.
I mean, I'll watch Nicolas Cage in a Spider-Man suit. Why not?
Yeah. Cool. And it'll probably be funny because he was funny in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I can see that.
Also, we've got a Tomb Raider series that's coming that's going to be written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge and produced. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge is known for Fleabag.
Yes, which I'm not familiar with, but that was very much...
Yes, which is a fan favorite show. Okay. And she was just in the Indiana Jones movie, The Dial of Destiny.
I liked her in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I was assuming incorrectly that she was going to be playing Tomb Raider.
No, she's older. I mean, she's older than Lara Croft would be starting out. I think they're going to base this series
of like a young Lara Croft,
like the new, like when they rebooted the video games and it made her younger,
kind of like Uncharted.
You kind of had to watch her become experienced.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I would tune in.
I would tune into it.
I would tune in because we don't have a lot of shows where the female lead Kind of like how Fallout, where we've got like a female lead who's kind of getting down and dirty and gritty and kind of learning her way. I don't feel like we have too many of those.
Yeah, and it's the thing about Fallout is they kind of chose a female lead for Fallout.
I was going to say
all of the Fallout games are create a character.
Okay.
So they could have went with anybody for Fallout.
And they decided.
Good choice. With Tomb Raider, I think it's good because it's a video game series, but it's a woman-led video game series.
Right.
And we have so many of them out already now. So, and Lara Croft's a fan favorite character.
Right.
Yeah, she's like iconic. So.
Casting will probably be very important here.
I don't know. Not necessarily.
You think they could get like a no-name?
The Vikander girl that got the role for the Tomb Raider reboot movie that came out not too long ago. Alicia Vikander.
Yes.
They said the movie was really good.
Okay.
Even though
they didn't
she
give
was
it
a no-name
sequel.
actress.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sure. Why not give somebody else a shot?
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Also, The Boys got renewed for season 5, which is not surprising. The Boys is like one of the Amazon's best running things so far. I mean, we'll see after a couple more seasons of Fallout. Because Fallout seems to have blown that out of the water.
It has. No question.
But The Boys got renewed. That's not surprising. They have a bunch of source material to pull from. They still haven't reached the end.
Okay.
So, it's like Invincible.
Okay. Yeah. I fell off The Boys a whole season and a half ago.
Yeah.
It got a little too much. I was like, y'all, the envelope has been pushed off the cliff and I can't do it.
We'll get back into it. I think it hasn't helped that there's so many other good comic book stuff out now that's being
There's a lot
adapted.
of good stuff out, period.
Yeah.
Just not even comic book wise. Just period. And you're like, I gotta watch all of this. I ain't got time. But good for them. Somebody said they feel like this might be the last season though. So I'm curious if that's true.
A lot of people who actually are enjoying the series have said that. A lot of people that are enjoying the series are like, okay, it's time to wrap it up. Which I found interesting to hear from people who really like the show, but to be like, okay.
The fact that Homelander is still around, I'm just kind of like, y'all ain't got rid of that man.
And
yet.
I think that's why. I think the villain they're running into the Grant Ward issue with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it's like, okay, the villain has lasted too long. It's now, this is all starting to wash over me.
Right. Where is his kryptonite at this point? Okay.
So that's everything for the Amazon corner of movie and show news. In the WB side,
dun, 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 dun.
Mortal Kombat 2 has an official release date. That will be coming out October 24th, 2025.
That's really close to Halloween. I'm just not realizing that.
It is.
Interesting choice.
Very. I'm very interested to see how that second week drop will happen because people don't go to the movies historically on Halloween weekend. Right. They go to Halloween parties.
I'm surprised they didn't do this like closer to Thanksgiving.
I do think that's a bad placement choice, but hopefully the movie's better. I didn't
need some combat.
I didn't dislike the first one, but it didn't have no Mortal Kombat in it.
Combat.
So
how about Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. How about we reinstate the namesake?
Right. Hello.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which I wonder if that's going to have its tagline removed. Because remember,
yes, Superman Legacy.
Man of Tomorrow.
Superman was Legacy.
The comic book was Man of Tomorrow.
Oh.
This is coming out June 26th of 2026. Talk to me in 2026.
I was going to say, we got a while.
Please do not let me know.
If this stays and doesn't move, I would be surprised.
Exactly. So it's so far away.
It is. It is. But good for them.
Hopefully we're here in June of 2026.
We will be. But we're going to put a push pin in it and one that can be removed.
Weapons is a new film it's an action film, I believe, that is coming out under WB's label on January 16th of 2026.
Another Too Far movie.
It is being directed by the Barbarian director, which is a really good spook.
Yeah, I've heard.
Zach Krieger. And it's going to star Josh Brolin, who is Thanos, Julia Garner, who is Silver Surfer, Alden Ehrenreich, who is Han Solo, Austin Abrams, I don't know you, I'm sorry, Austin.
I don't know Austin.
And Benedict Wong, who is Wongers.
Sorcerer Supreme. He is Sorcerer Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme Wongers.
So the MCU cast, a Disney person, and Austin. Sorry, Austin.
I'm going to quickly look up Austin.
Okay, we're going to look up Austin.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's the only thing I think I've ever seen his face in. He's also apparently was in Euphoria and Do Revenge. I didn't see Do Revenge, but I heard Do Revenge was okay.
Okay.
So good job, Austin.
He's surrounded by a good cast.
Yes, he is.
Good for him.
Absolutely. Maybe they can get you into the MCU. Or at least Disney, because they're all from Disney.
Hell, I was going to say, he Disney adjacent at the very least.
Speaking of Disney and the Marvel television side of movie and show announcements, Agatha All Along is the official title for the Agatha-based Disney Plus series. I still have a hunch that all the fake titles were episode titles.
That's what people are going with, but I feel like, so for people who don't know, when this show got announced, it's been called Agatha Darkhold Diaries, Agatha House of Harkness. There was also, the latest one was Agatha the Bad Witch in the Awesome Wardrobe. Yeah. They were clearly trolling us, and some people weren't smart enough to catch it. However, some of those titles seem a little goofy. Yeah. To be episodes, but who knows? I wouldn't doubt it. I like the fact that they called it Agatha All Along because they're trying to play it like Agatha has been the one jacking up these titles and trolling y'all all along. It's cute. Yes. Good marketing. Good marketing.
There was some discussion around some of the things that they showed at the Disney Upfront about this show. And basically she's still under the spell that Wanda left her under in Westview. Like and she thinks she's a detective.
Yes, she's trying to fight it.
And she's solving some type of murder. Oh. And that's where Aubrey Plaza's character comes in to tell her, hey, you need to snap out of it. You're actually a witch.
Stand up.
She has to get her powers back.
Okay.
And it's about the other witches in the show are supposed to be like part of like her growing coven.
Did we say it was coming out September?
No. So this comes out September 18th of 2024, which is later this year, and it will have a 2-episode premiere, which I think is the right choice. Did WandaVision have a 2-episode premiere?
Yes, it did. And I think they're trying to. I can't remember how many episodes it is, but I bet you they're trying to end it during spooky season.
Absolutely, that makes the most sense.
I'm excited for this though.
Yeah, absolutely. WandaVision was really good. Katherine Hahn was one of the best characters on that show. She's Katherine perfect Hahn in the role. I also think it's going to roll right into Fantastic Four because we know that Franklin Richards, Reed Richards, and Sue Storm's son will be in it, and we know that their babysitter was Agatha Harkness.
Right. So, we talked about that. Very interesting.
Hopefully this will roll into that.
Very interesting.
Daredevil Born Again, which is the reboot of the Daredevil series from Netflix, has a premiere date of March 2025, alongside Ironheart, which is also coming at some point in 2025.
So those are 2 movies for those are our 2 shows for 2025. Because according to Bob, he said we get 3 movies, 2 shows. So we already got our 3 movies because Blade is moving, not officially, but come on. And our 2 shows will be Daredevil and Ironheart. Yeah.
So Dominique Thorne, I believe, is going to be playing Ironheart. Yep. And reprising her role from Black Panther 2. And Anthony Ramos is supposed to be playing the Hood, which is historically a villain.
It's not Red Hood, right? Red Hood is DC.
Red Hood is DC.
Okay.
The Hood is a regular guy who gets a magic cloak called the Hood that gives him sorcerer's powers. And the show is supposed to be described as like when magic meets technology. Because he's magic and she's technology.
People are looking forward to this. I am looking forward to this. I'm a little saddened that this means that Wonder Man is not coming in 2025.
They didn't mention Wonder Man, and they didn't mention Armor Wars.
I thought that was a movie now.
But they didn't mention it. Which means it's not coming in 2026 at least.
My question is, if we're only getting 2 shows, does that count animated shows? Because what if season 3 and X-Men 97 season 2?
I don't know, because what if it's supposed to come out next year? And X-Men 97 is not supposed to come out until the fall of 2025.
Yeah, that's 4. Somebody lying to us.
Maybe it doesn't apply to Marvel Animation. Maybe it doesn't apply to the different studio
labels. Like, because now Marvel
Spotlight is the live action shows, and animation is the animation, and then Marvel Studios is just for the films.
But now they have Marvel Television. I'm like, y'all branching off into too many sections. It's getting confusing.
And as far as new movies that have been announced, we have a film called 77 Blackout that's going to star Mahershala Ali, Blade, and Tom Hardy, Venom.
Bane. Oh, we both named two different
Bane,
characters.
true. This is going to be directed by Cary Fukunaga, who is the director of No Time to Die and Beast of No Nation. I haven't seen Beast of No Nation, but No Time to Die was good.
To the last 5 minutes.
Very upset about that ending, Cary.
I'm never going to get over it.
You're on thin ice.
It's okay.
This is a crime thriller that follows a night when the city that never sleeps, New York, lost power and plunged into chaos and lawlessness.
Gotham City.
Yeah, so basically they're turning New York into Gotham.
It's giving Gotham City, but I like this pairing of Mahershala and Tom Hardy.
Yeah, very good
I don't know
actors.
who's playing what, but I like it.
Mahershala should be the detective. Tom Hardy should be the bad guy.
Nah, flip it. Make it.
Either way, that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom
Hardy's going to do a voice that isn't his.
Mahershala's played somebody bad, so he's already got the chops, and Tom Hardy has too. So interesting. This sounds good. Give it to me.
Very interested to see how this turns out.
Give it to me.
There's also a comedic action thriller that's in the works called Empire State, which is going to star Gerard Butler. Now, when I read this headline, I immediately knew what the movie was.
Of course, because it's called Empire State,
and it stars Gerard Butler. So my immediate thought was, okay, so the Empire State Building is on fire,
of course,
or is in some type of crisis, and the only man courageous enough to stop it and take down whatever terrorist organization has taken everybody hostage.
As he was walking down the street reading the newspaper, he looked up and said, "Oh." Yeah. Let me go save these people.
It's the Bruce Willisification of Gerard Butler.
Hey.
It is.
Die Hard with a Vengeance was a great movie.
This is his Die Hard moment.
So,
because it's mostly his career. But in Empire State, when the Empire State Building comes under attack by a military contractor hell-bent on revenge,
dun, 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 dun.
Navy SEAL.
He's a Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL turned New York firefighter Rhett.
Of course. Rhett?
2 masculine jobs and a masculine name.
Right.
And an NYPD tactical officer, Danny, yet to be cast, but it's Danny D-A-N-I, which means it's a woman.
You know what? I almost guessed it was going to be our guy from Plane, who was also from Luke Cage. But now you said Danny's probably a woman.
Because they would have to explain that the fact that the universe is not the same.
I mean, come on.
But Danny must put aside their relationship troubles as they work to rescue hostages and save the famous landmark. Now, I knew that she was going to be a woman when you said before the relationship troubles part.
Because of the way the name's spelled?
Yeah.
You're probably right.
You've seen this movie before. It's Die Hard 1 and... It's
Plane, it's White House Down, or is it Black, or which one is he?
Olympus Has Fallen?
There it is. Yeah, you know what I meant. You know what I mean?
It's Mission Impossible. It's randomly overskilled action man happens to run and be in the same place as a terrorist organization. He's the only man who can stop. It's Triple X.
It is all of that. But you know what? I didn't see Plane, but they said Plane was entertaining.
So
I don't know about this though. It's given wait for streaming.
I need to see a trailer. It's looking like that. What's that rock movie where
Rampage?
No, well, any rock
Geostorm
movie. Where he was married to Neve Campbell and he had the prosthetic leg. Skyscraper.
There it is.
Yes, he's like the designer or like the security of something for like the world's biggest skyscraper, and it comes under attack. And it just so happens that not only is he an architect, he's like an ex-Navy SEAL.
Of course, who's like secret ninja / smartest person on earth, wrapped up in one big muscular package.
Keanu Reeves and Kirsten Dunst are joining forces for a film combined with Daniel Bruhl. Ooh. So more MCU alumni.
Yes.
They're confirmed for a movie called The Entertainment System is Down. It's a very interesting title, but it's Keanu Reeves. It's set on a long-haul flight where the entertainment system on the plane fails, and the film will see passengers forced to face the horror of being bored.
Interesting premise.
Very interesting premise.
But with the cast, I'm sold.
I want to know what the genre is. Like, is it a comedy? Or is it supposed to be like a thriller?
I think it's supposed to be let's click here. I think it was described as a comedy. Let's scooch. Let's see. Social satire. So it's like a social, it's kind of like a Don't Look Up, it seems like, situation.
Okay. It's reported that other well-known cast members will also be joining this film as well as it begins filming in early 2025. So
This is interesting. So in preparing for the movie, the filmmaker was inspired by a sociological study at Virginia University called The Challenge of Disengaged Mind. The experiment found that participants did not enjoy spending 6 to 15 minutes in a room by themselves with nothing to do but think.
Oh.
To take this experiment one step further, the researcher added a twist. With a touch of a button, the test subjects could, if desired, give themselves a harmless but very painful electric shock. It turned out that a quarter of all women and 2/3 of all men chose to press the button. One man even found being alone with his thoughts so unbearable, during the 15 minutes he gave himself 190 electric shocks. So people don't like to sit with nothing to do, according to this study
I'm not shocked
that this
myself.
movie is based on. So I sense chaos and debauchery on the plane.
Yeah, I've sat in a room for 6 hours with just my thoughts. It's work. But
well,
so
especially that first couple of weeks of a new job, you're
Yeah.
like, what am I supposed to be doing here?
So I'm interested in seeing a trailer for this. Is there any word about who the production house is?
It is. Let me see.
It screams A24.
It does not. No.
Interesting.
No, it doesn't.
I'll be very interested to see what studio picks this up.
It is. The film will be a Swedish, German, French co-production. So it's not even American studio based. Even though it has American actors. Which is not like unheard of.
Daniel Bruhl's German.
Okay. Oh, so he got everybody on board. He was like, look, guys, I got this great movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Please join me. I ain't mad at it.
So that's all for the movie and casting news we have in our news segment. Now let's roll into the trailer park.
Toot, toot. Beep, beep.
Okay, so the first trailer we have is a second trailer. This is for the Bad Boys Ride or Die sequel. Again, this comes out July 7th. So very soon, 4th of July weekend.
Couple weeks.
That is a great place for it.
You said 4th of July weekend. You too early.
June 7th, sorry.
I was like, wait a minute. Did it move? Did they move the holiday?
Comes
No,
out June 7th. This trailer, it just looks like more Bad Boys.
But you don't think it was funnier?
No, was the trailer funnier?
I thought
it had more of the jokes in the scenes.
I'll put it this way. As somebody who did not like the previous Bad Boys as much as everybody else in the universe, I think this one I will enjoy it quite a bit more.
It's interesting because this one looks more like the previous Bad Boys than the rest of the Bad Boys.
This one looked better than the last one because the jokes look real funny.
It looks better than the last one because it's a very obvious lack of the side characters that they added. That's the only reason. Other than the fact this movie looks the same.
But I thought they put more of the comedy that's going to be in the movie in this, and I laughed. It has been getting. They did a premiere for like some influencers and media folk,
screening,
and it got good reviews.
Yeah, it looks good. I like the last one. So, but the trailer so far, it's what you would expect from Bad Boys. It's
yes.
flashy scenes of gunplay and car chases and more unbelievable stunts. I'll give them that.
They have what did you call it? Fast and the Furious-fication?
Yes, the Fast and Furious-fication of
they
Bad
definitely
Boys.
Have added that to this movie.
It looks like they have a fight scene with the albino crocodile.
There's some sort of tank or something that's like doing the most. I'm like, y'all, we don't need that. We just need gunplay. We leave it at that.
LONGLEGS, we got a double trailer kind of for LONGLEGS. They released a sweet and a sour version of the LONGLEGS trailer. One is from the perspective of Micah Monroe, who plays the FBI detective, and the other is from the perspective from Nicolas Cage, who plays, I don't know.
He's a serial killer, right?
I mean, he's a killer, but
we don't know like his name, I guess, and his backstory.
No, he's creepy though.
He looked real.
And it looks like creepy. It looks like he kills kids,
families.
All the people look like kids that are assaulted.
I feel like he's taking out whole generations. Just
So the trailers, neither of the trailers give us much additional detail about the movies. It looks like some weird creepy poem is scrolling like the Star Wars scroll at the beginning of the trailer.
I tried to read and was like, it's probably gonna haunt me, so I'm not gonna
Nicolas
read it.
Cage is moaning and making noises in the background. We never get a shot of his face, which means it's super spooky.
Yes, his hair, he has long blonde sandy hair. It looks like,
and it looks like that has something to do with the occult because of the symbols.
Creepy, y'all. It's creepy.
Yeah. So
this looks like the perfect movie for horror thriller. 7 Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it looks like a 7 Silence of the Lambs type of thing.
I'm gonna tough it out though. I'm gonna tough it out and sleep with all lights on.
This comes out July 12th, 2024. We also got another trailer for the Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power Season 2.
This is the first trailer, actually.
Oh, well, yeah, this is the first trailer. So this is for the Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2. This premieres on Amazon August 29th, 2024.
I didn't realize this was coming out so soon.
The trailer looks good. It looks like the trailer for the first season.
Beautiful gowns.
It does appear that there will be more action, more battles, which Lord of the Rings is really good on, large-scale battles.
Yep.
So it looks like they're going back to the battles. We get a full glimpse of Sauron.
He got a new wig.
Yes, he got a new wig. So it took me a while to recognize him. I was like,
because of the wig.
The wig makes his face look thinner.
He's got an elf wig.
Yeah, he looks like an elf. Because was he an elf?
I know.
Because he was human. He looks very elvish.
Let's not spoil it, but no, he was not.
He's gone from Aragorn to Legolas, basically.
Yes, a dirty looking Legolas, but hair nonetheless.
So fully revealed. He's on his way to build Mordor.
It looks like it's coming out of the ground or something. Yes.
And the trailer doesn't really give us much detail either. It looks like Galadriel, our main character, is going to be hunting him down because
with a new team.
He did trick her pretty bad.
He did.
He pulled the wool over all their eyes pretty bad.
That last episode pulled it all together for me. It was very good. I liked it.
More Gandalf action. I hope that they tune down the whimsy a little. And it's time to get serious. Sauron's back.
Some episodes was kind of a drag because they did too much.
All the Hobbit stuff.
All of it. Yep. I'm sorry.
It's the end of the world.
Just put them somewhere and keep them safe.
We're no longer hunting for apples and carrots. It's time to move on.
Right.
We need to get Gandalf to realize who he is fully.
I think he does now, right?
Hopefully.
I don't remember. It was a while since that season finished, but I'm looking forward to it. Season 1 was not heavily loved.
No, it was slow. It was very beautiful though.
People were being idiots about black people being elves and whatever. But I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah.
Season 1 was very well shot. I enjoyed it. It did have some pacing issues, but I liked the characters. I liked the way it ended. And so
finale was very good.
We'll definitely be tuned in for season 2. We also got a trailer for Megalopolis, which has been in the news a lot lately. So when we got the teaser for this was before the screeners came out.
Correct.
And it
looked interesting.
Hard to describe. So I don't know what the movie is about. It doesn't seem like anybody, even the people who've seen the movie, know what the movie is about. But I formed an hypothesis based on the trailer.
Sure, go ahead.
And it seems like Megalopolis is about Adam Driver, who is some type of architect.
We got that.
Who is trying to build the perfect utopia.
Okay, I can see how you got that.
It's a mess of ideas. It seems like his design or his plans for this, how he envisions the city,
doesn't quite work.
Is a complete mess of ideas.
Kind of like Bastion from
that doesn't make sense.
97.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. And it also seems like he's fighting against other factions of people who have their own vision of what they think the city should be as well.
Because there's somebody in the trailer who says, we need to take back our city.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's some, everybody don't agree with Adam Driver's plan.
Yeah. So that's what I've gleaned from the trailer.
And it's very far in the future, yes? No? Or it's timeless. We don't know what time.
I think it's supposed to be based in the future, but it looks it looks like an acid trip, to be honest.
So a major studio, a Disney, a WB, a A24 or whatever, has not picked this up.
No.
It has only been picked up by, I think, a French studio.
Mm-hmm. So it was self-financed. It only cost $120 million.
Of his own money. So
he got it. Francis got it.
Okay. So we don't even know if it's getting a wide release in the United States.
No.
It showed at the Cannes Film Festival, and the reviews are not great. I think
they're pretty bad.
It's sitting at about a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah,
it's
there
gonna
have
be.
been worse movies.
You're right. Snake Eyes, perhaps. We'll see if we ever get to see it. I don't even know. It's coming out in 2024 at some point from somebody somewhere. IMAX did say that they were going to release it. So I think a couple IMAX studios.
But also could be regional.
Exactly.
It could be only on those true IMAX screens.
I think there's only like 30.
Yeah.
So it won't be here. It'll be 30 screens across the United States, but we don't know if it'll get a wide release. So we don't.
If it does, I'm interested in seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it comes out on a weekend where there's nothing else we have covered.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a fun episode.
The reviews not being great was kind of like, okay, I want to see why y'all think it's as bad as y'all say it is.
It doesn't seem like anybody, other than calling it a mess, it doesn't seem like anybody can accurately summarize what the film is about. And that...
You're right. Which is not...
That's not good.
Great.
But that doesn't mean...
It's not bad. I mean, that doesn't mean that the...
How can one critique the vision if they don't know the vision?
I mean, somebody needs to know the vision because the audience is for the audience.
I mean, true.
So if we don't know, we might just be sitting there like, okay. Somebody said the first hour was a mess and the second hour it came together.
I have not seen anybody say that.
There's a black critic that I don't know if I follow him. He just pops up a lot. But he said the first hour, nah. Second hour, okay. All together.
It premiered at Cannes. He did get a 7-minute standing ovation, but they did note that it was also accompanied by a couple boos. So...
yeah.
A movie got to be bad to boo Francis Ford Coppola.
And that feels rude to do at a festival.
Rude to do,
I feel like you would save it.
I just also realized that the Cannes isn't like a prestigious. The guests aren't all prestigious guests. It's regular people can go stand in line
if you get like a ticket or something, screening. Right?
Yeah, so okay. The Neanderthals are in the theater.
Okay. Somebody said it was Sophia.
That was poor Sophia.
I don't know why they do that girl like that.
Wicked. Speaking about mistreating women, Wicked is going to be in theaters on November 27th, 2024. We got our trailer for this film. This is going to star Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey.
Yes.
And Cynthia Erivo is going to be playing the Wicked Witch, titular character of the film.
Yes.
And it pretty much looks like it's going to follow the Broadway play. If you have seen it,
now, one thing to note is this movie that they are seeming to hide is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
And
they didn't put that in the trailer because I remember this being a part 1, part 2, but it just said Wicked and not part 1.
I feel like they are trying to not tell people, so they'd be like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Just like they're trying to hide the fact that it's a musical. Because they hide the music in musical films.
Yeah, you only hear the music kind of at the end of this.
So this movie pretty much follows the story of how the Wicked Witch and Glinda, the Good Witch, first met when they were younger, became friends, learned the power of black magic together, and ran into Jeff Goldblum, who plays the Wicked Witch. No, who plays Oz. Yes. No. Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Michelle Yeoh's character is also not good.
She seems like the world's first evil person.
Yeah,
she seems to be the head mistress of the school for magic.
Right.
But she wants to use Cynthia Erivo's powers for something nefarious.
Yeah. She don't seem like she's all the way a protagonist in this. I don't know about this one.
I wasn't interested in anything Wizard of Oz related anyway, but it does. Wicked blew up. It was on It's like one of the longest running Broadway productions.
It is popular. Yes. I don't know how this. The movie will probably also do good because I feel like that fan base will translate over. I don't know if they're going to get a lot of general audience.
I don't know. It's like the Broadway version of Frozen, and it's live action already. So
maybe we'll see. I don't know about this for me personally though.
It's got its fans.
The trailer was like 12 minutes long too. I was like, y'all save something for the movie.
And other things that are probably overly long. Dune Prophecy is a series out of the Dune universe that is coming to Max. It's going to premiere this fall. Doesn't have an official date. And it is set 1,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides. And it looks like it's going to follow the creation of the Mothers, the sisterhood.
Yes.
Looks like it's about how the Sisterhood's first plan to like create the prophecy and take over and spread their influence.
I don't know if I'm interested though.
Listen,
1,000 years before.
Present day Dune is good, but it's slow.
Well, also
1,000 years before sounds slower.
Rebecca Ferguson's not in this.
This don't got Ilsa. It don't got Zendaya. It ain't got
nobody from the movie.
Lea Seydoux.
Because it's 1,000 years before. It looks nice. It ain't got
Javier Bardem.
It looks nice though.
It does look nice. It has some stars that people seem to know, which I think is good.
Oh,
I don't think Dune needed an expansion.
It doesn't. No. Not if they did a backstory on Rebecca Ferguson's character, I would be interested. I don't know if I care about...
I think this is supposed to be it, but just 1,000 years before. Because she's part of that whole...
Right, yes.
Cult of... I don't know, what are they, witches? Somebody who knows Dune lore.
Right, correct us in the
comments.
Let us
know.
I don't know if I care that much. I don't. Actually, I don't.
I'm just going to say, Paul Atreides hasn't done anything interesting yet.
I mean, he betrayed Zendaya real good, real bad.
Yeah, so he finally kicked in at the end of the last movie, but
Paul.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to how it
Happy
does.
for everybody. It looks like the budget is behind it, and it's going to have great production and probably really good writing, but it's going to be too slow for me. So happy for everybody.
Mark Strong is in it.
Good for Mark Strong. He's also going to be in The Penguin. So
yes, he is.
WB is like his place.
I like Mark Strong.
Never Let Go is another film in the universe of Halle Berry protecting her children. Mm-hmm. This movie comes out September 27, 2024. And it looks like Bird Box, except for you don't have to close your eyes.
I've also seen references to A Quiet Place.
Yeah, but I call it Bird Box because Halle Berry seems like a mean mom, like Sandra Bullock.
I think Halle Berry is not all the way together in this.
She seemed damaged.
Something is amiss, and I think she has 2 sons, and I think one of them is maybe starting to catch on as something is amiss. But there's clearly also like something in the mist because there's like creatures in this is like a horror. We would call this horror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something snake related. Either she's a snake or somebody's a snake.
There's like a weird figure of some sort in this.
There's snakes. So the trailer shows Halle Berry and 2 kids, her 2 sons, that are living somewhere in like some shack in the forest. It looks run down. It's clearly the end of the world, or there is some type of world-ending event that has taken place. They're secluded. They travel outside the house for supplies, but they only do so when they have ropes tied around their waist that lead them back to the house.
Ropes.
And it's called Never Let Go because the rule that Halle Berry repeats throughout the trailer is to never let go of the rope or something bad will happen to you. And in the trailer, we see one of the boys slips out of his rope on accident and falls and looks like he breaks his leg or something. And as soon as he's out of the rope, he starts to get like overwhelmed by like
it's like a weird shadow or something. Yeah.
It also looks like it has zombie people in it as well. And
in the mist.
Some type of snake creatures that pull the little boy into a well.
Oh, it looked like a snake? Okay.
Yeah, there was a glimpse of it. A part of it is outside the shadow and it looked like a human snake person.
I missed that.
It didn't have no skin.
Yuck.
So it looks good. It looks spooky. It definitely gives Quiet Place vibes. It is going straight to theaters. Good for Halle Berry. And I just find it hilarious that she has created her own genre of film.
Saving kids with a wig.
Which is, what do you call it? I don't know. Domestic horror? CPS slashers.
Kid saving horror. I
don't know what it's called.
I don't know, but she's very funny on Twitter because people will always tweet her like she always trying to save some kids. She don't do no movie unless she can save some kids. And she's a very good sport about it.
She's a never-ending mother, so we're glad for Halle Berry
in real life and in film.
Okay, so that was our nice trip in the trailer park. Let's get into this bunch crunch.
Toot, toot. IBB. Okay, so for Buncher Crunch, we have, let's start up at the top here. Cillian Murphy is now confirmed to return for 28 years later. So we have been talking about people who have joined the cast, and everybody was wondering if he was coming back. Now it is official. The movie is currently scheduled to be released in June of next year, June 20th. So we'll get a nice little maybe summer blockbuster out of this. And he's also producing.
Yeah, so he's star producing, and he's going to be alongside Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, and Voldemort, Ralph Fiennes.
Yes, so people seem to be very excited that he's coming back for this. We got more casting news for Fantastic Four, which now it's kind of like, I feel like every other week we're going to get something, which I'm excited about. That's good. Natasha Lyonne, is it Lyonne or Leon? Lyonne is going to be cast in an undisclosed role. So another, we have no idea what she's playing, role in Fantastic Four. They collecting actors like Infinity Stones.
It's good casting so far.
Is.
So a lot of people think that she's going to be voicing Herbie.
We keep moving. Every time a new undisclosed person gets cast, we're like, oh, this Herbie. No, this Herbie.
I think this is
Herbie.
I don't know what John Malkovich is going to be.
Okay.
I think Paul Walter Hauser is going to be Mole Man.
Okay.
I do think Natasha Lyonne would be a great Herbie. Because Herbie is supposed to be like Betty from the Jetsons.
Okay.
She's supposed to be like the housekeeper, but snarky too. And that's Herbie.
So interesting. Okay. Somebody else was guessing another female character, but I wasn't familiar. She had red hair, but I wasn't familiar who she was.
It could be any of them.
Okay.
Tigra? I don't know.
Listen, it's funny that they're getting all these people and then they don't tell us who they are, but I'm enjoying the ride. So we'll see.
Yeah. Redhead.
Red, I should have wrote down.
I was thinking Crystal, but no, Crystal's not a redhead. Crystal is a love interest of Johnny Storm, who's an Inhuman, but I don't think they're doing Inhumans.
Okay, it wasn't Crystal. I can't think of what character they were trying to guess, but now
or Ben Grimm's blind wife?
Oh, what's her name?
That was Kerry Washington in the original Fantastic Four?
What's her name? What's her character's name?
Alicia.
Yes, people were guessing her.
She could be Alicia.
Okay.
I guess that would make sense. They would have the Thing already married in this.
So I think it's funny that we're assuming that all these people are going to be big roles, but maybe they're small roles.
You think they would cast all these people for small roles?
No, but we don't know because they won't tell us who the heck they are.
Good for Natasha Lyonne.
Yes.
If you are not familiar with her, she's from Orange is the New Black, or that's where she got her big boom from.
Yes.
She just had that show called Poker Face come out.
People really like that too.
And she had that Russian doll show on Netflix.
Which I think she's won some Emmys for.
Yes. So she's a really good comedic actress.
I'm looking forward to whoever she may be. Donnie Yen's character, Kane, is getting a John Wick 4 spinoff movie. So if you haven't seen John Wick 4, go see it. But he played a blind assassin, a very good one, by the way. And he had his own kind of, I won't spoil it, he has his own storyline within the movie. But he is getting his own spinoff movie that is going to start shooting in Hong Kong in 2025.
Yeah, so we left off with Kane's character in John Wick 4. He killed Hiroyuki Sanada's character, who was the dad
of John. He was John Wick's friend.
He was John Wick's friend. They were all friends.
Yes. Well,
yes, Kane, John
quote
Wick,
unquote friends as assassins.
Kane, John Wick, and Shimazu Koji, who is Hiroyuki Sanada, were friends in the Assassins game. They all separated and started doing their own things. Donnie Yen was sent to kill Hiroyuki Sanada. Left his daughter, Rina Sawayama, alive. And
you'll never do that.
Never do that.
No.
And the end credit stinger of John Wick 4 was that he went back to find his daughter, who thought that who had to leave behind because he went to become an assassin. And he thinks that he's just there to see her. And it looks like the daughter, Rina Sawayama, followed him there. So she's going to get revenge for him killing her dad. Right.
And so it cuts it off. So we don't see what happens with that encounter. I watch it.
I absolutely watch it because that was a good end credit stinger, especially if it seems like John Wick is dead.
I think
as much as they're trying to hammer it home.
I think he is. Let that man rest in peace.
You've already sown the seeds to do something else. This is a great, and people seem to really have liked her character in the movie. So that's good.
I'm curious. Well, Ballerina is set is a prequel, right?
I think it's set during.
So it won't even match with this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So another movie that we have heard about, but it hadn't had a release date yet, was Back in Action. It is starring Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. It will release on Netflix November 15th. Something I didn't realize is this will be Cameron Diaz's first film since Annie from 2014, where she also co-starred with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
She ain't been in a movie in a decade.
She retired because she got pregnant. And she started her own little family.
Okay.
And she's said she announced her retirement a while ago. So yeah, this is her getting back into the swing of things.
She back in action. I don't know what this movie is about though. That's how I said she was back in action in this movie. It's called Back in Action.
I didn't see any. The last Cameron Diaz movie I saw was Bad Teacher, and she was really good in that. She needs to do a Bad Teacher too.
That was a very crazy movie.
It was very good.
So yeah, this seems like they might, based on the pictures, they released a couple pictures. They seem like they're like assassins of some sort, but we'll see. I mean, it sounds like it'll be a streaming movie. So whatever, it
absolutely sounds like it'll be a streaming movie.
But hey, ease yourself back in.
Good for them.
Good for them. Also, Jamie Foxx is easing himself back in because we ain't seen him in a little while since his accident.
No, we haven't. Medical emergency. So good for him.
Yeah. Next up, a new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie is coming out July 18th, 2025. They said that Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt are in talks to return. That's not official. I don't know. I mean, sure, they're still making Screams. They can make this. It's Final Destination, so why not? Right? We're excited about this.
Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are rumored to be in talks to return. Yeah. I think that's a weird choice.
Oh, really? Why?
Because they kill the killer twice. Like, you've killed the killer twice. Like, Scream is different because it's always a different Scream.
They the Sydneys of
but why would this tie back to them?
I don't know.
They're two characters.
Because they need to reel the nostalgia people
They've
in.
officially killed their killer, and they never made any movies. There are no I Know What You Did Last Summer movies inside the I Know What You Did Last Summer movie, so it never became like famous.
Well, how else are you going to reel us in if they recast all new people?
They don't cast new people they cast all new people for Final Destinations.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But the very funny thing about this release date of July 19th is that it sits right in between DC's Superman movie and Marvel's Fantastic Four. Doesn't seem like a smart thing to do.
You know what? Horror is alternative broadcasting.
But you don't think the movie theaters are going to be like, yeah, we ain't got room for you.
You don't need to see a horror movie on a premium screen.
Are they going to put it on one screen at every movie theater?
I think those rules apply to anything that isn't. I think horror is usually so different from every other genre.
That you can play it alongside two superhero movies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And
interesting.
It's a horror film, so it costs $2.
It should.
It's based in realism, so it costs $1.50.
Right.
Because there's no VFX.
No, it's going to be all practical.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. Like you say, I need to see a trailer.
I do. No, this is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I do need to see a
Good,
trailer.
bad, or bad? Though?
I Know What You Did Last Summer has always been the knockoff Scream, even though it was also written by Kevin Williamson.
Knock off all of them, actually.
So it's not going to be as good. But they're trying to, I think because Scream fumbled and stubbed their toe and showed weakness, there's blood in the slasher waters. And now everybody's trying to get in on it. So
okay, we'll see.
Can't blame them.
We'll see. I think the date choice is interesting, but you know what? It's summer, so why not? Next up, Ty West's new slasher Night Business is going to be coming out starring Zac Efron, who is from
High School Musical.
Yeah.
Oh, Iron Claw. He's an adult now.
Yeah, you're right. There you go. I was pointing to you like, you know what it is.
Yes.
This movie is set in the 80s. It's a knife-wielding killer commits extreme acts of violence on exotic dancers. Only one man has a will powerful enough to stop him. Dun, dun, dun.
This is Maxine. I think this is what Ty West was saying when he was like, I can add more movies to the Maxine universe.
Are you kidding me?
I think this is literally...
Oh, you think they're going to tie together, though?
It should. Why not? Because you're making the same movie. I think Maxine is set at the end of the 80s.
Maxine is set in the 80s. Mm-hmm. She's not an exotic dancer. She's a actress.
She's an actress.
Porn star.
But...
Right?
No. But I think in the trailer for Maxine, Halsey, who plays her best friend, says that there's a slasher out there going around there killing girls.
Right.
I think this is gonna tie into that wider universe.
You know what? I wouldn't be mad at that.
No.
I wouldn't be mad at that. This sounds, I don't know, 80s, exotic dancers, serial killer. It sounds like a good time.
Its slashers are really good because they're their own section of horror films that are tolerable to a wider audience. It's not supernatural. It usually doesn't send people home looking in their corners because
like LONGLEGS.
Usually in slashers, the killer is someone you know. So if you don't know anybody that wants to kill you, you don't have to go home and worry about, somebody hiding in your closet wanting to slice you up. So
demons don't care.
Exactly. Demons are indiscriminate. Yeah. So I think this is
white, happy, sad.
And he's done a good job with X and Pearl.
Right.
So
cool.
Hopefully Maxine turns out good. So hopefully this will also be good as well.
Right. Okay, Megan 2.0 has been delayed from May 16th, 2025 to June 27th, 2025. So not a big change. But also Black Phone 2 has been delayed from the date that Meg had, June 27, 2025 to October 17th, 2025. So close to the spooky season. Both of these are horrors, but one is a true horror and one is a fake horror, which is my kind of horror.
Yeah.
Black
so
Phone
this is going to
2...
be close to Mortal Kombat.
Aha.
Because Mortal Kombat is the week before Halloween. This is the week before.
Before that.
Yeah.
Different audience, I would say. For
Absolutely. Sure. Black Phone is a 100% not a spook. It's a thriller and like Shining. Because the ghost and Black Phone are helpful.
Right.
They're victims who want to help you get out.
Do they look like sad?
I mean, they look like they did when they died. They're not dismembered or anything.
Okay.
Most of them died of like
strangulation
or starvation or something.
Oh God.
So they look like ghouls, but they don't.
I'm out.
They're friendly because they want to help the victim.
Right. And this is a sequel, not a prequel, right?
I'm not sure because they killed Ethan Hawke at the end of Black Phone.
Okay.
Like it was the definitive death. So
maybe
I'm not
he's a
sure.
Ghost.
Maybe he's a ghost. It was supernatural, and the sister had the shine.
Right.
That's how she could also see what was
because they had the jerk dad, right?
Yes, because come to find out the dad was a jerk because the mom had the shine, and the shine caused the mom to kill herself. So that's why he was always mean to the kids whenever they talked about the powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Meg 2.0 is much lighter. That's my kind of horror.
Black Phone is really good though. Everybody should watch it.
Yes. Ethan Hawke is the main lead in Black Phone.
He's the killer.
Yeah, which he played good and bad, so I don't fault him for it. Next up, speaking of spooky, oh my God, I didn't even see this on here. Did you add this?
I did.
Oh. A new Insidious film is coming out. Oh my God, it's going to be like a summer of freaking horror next summer.
It is.
A new Insidious film is coming out August 29th, 2025. This is crazy. We got Meg 2.0, Black Phone 2, Insidious. What is going on here?
Barely anything spooky came out this year.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is July.
It doesn't count.
It's a spooky. You know what? Y'all horror fans about to eat. So congratulations.
Yeah, so Insidious film is set to release in August.
Sequel, prequel?
I'm not sure because the core Insidious films focus on Patrick Wilson and his family because they have powers.
And they just had one come out, right?
They had The Red Door, which is the conclusion of the family story. But there are already, I think there are two other Insidious films that have nothing to do with the family that are about just ghost events that have taken place that have plagued other people and other families.
Not for me.
So it looks like they're just going to be putting another film into this universe.
Okay. So sure. These are cheap movies too, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, there's not a lot of special effects in Insidious. Even though they're ghosts, they use practical people as the demons.
Y'all enjoy that.
So
next up, Terminator Zero animated release. So this is a
Netflix show.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is coming to Netflix August 29th, this year, 2024. Yeah. It is set in 1997 Japan. A soldier from the distant future is sent. So
yeah, keep reading.
A soldier is sent back in the. I gotta start over. Set in 1997 Japan. You don't even bother gotta edit that out. A soldier from the distant future is sent back in time during the beginning of the Skynet attack to protect the scientist and his children from a robot assassin in disguise. This sounds like the Terminator.
Yeah.
I'm reading this like I'm reading the Terminator plot.
Yeah, so basically...
Why?
At the same time, Skynet went self-aware in the US. It went self-aware worldwide.
Okay,
so at
fine.
the same time that they were sending John Connor to stop Sarah, they're basically planting the seeds that there are more than John Connor who was instrumental in saving the universe, which makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense that the entire universe fake hedges on the
Jesus.
Yeah, one little kid and one man who grows up to be Christian Bale, who saves the universe. Like, it doesn't make sense that it just takes one man to do that. It would take multiple people to do that.
We're milking something that ain't got no juice left.
Basically, they sent a different soldier back to 1997 Japan to save a Japanese scientist because he's also instrumental in stopping Skynet in the future.
Is the cast going to be Japanese?
Yes, what's anime. Yeah. So if you go online and you look up the screenshots, this is something that was revealed over the weekend. I don't think it was part of the Disney upfront, but other people who aren't part take the opportunity to advertise during that time
because they know people paying attention.
Yeah. So they put out the screenshots for this. It looks really good. It looks like they went back to like 97 Toonami era animation.
Okay.
Where it's like film grain a little bit.
Does it look like a Akira or a?
It looks like Eon Flux.
Okay, sure.
Looks like the Animatrix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I was just reading the plot like this is the Terminator.
It looks good. Netflix has done really good with anime.
Are they gonna keep it? They're gonna keep it past one season.
I think that's evident because 97 has taken a lot of Castlevania influence into it. Okay. X-Men 97.
Okay.
They've just released season 2 of The Blood of Zeus. I watched season 1. That was really good.
I saw that coming up on net when we just watched the Ashley Madison. I was like, what is The Blood of Zeus?
You would enjoy that. It's about Zeus being Zeus, having kids.
Okay, I'm about to say being a jerk.
That hitting the fan.
Oh, I need to finish.
He ends up having a child who is way too strong.
So Super Hercules?
And he's evil. But a big part of the reason I put this on the agenda of the Terminator Zero animated series is because the showrunner and the writer is Matt Tomlin, who also wrote the Batman Part 2. So
okay,
we know he can write.
Okay, you know what? I was shading this in the beginning reading the plot, but you might have sold me.
Yeah.
Good. Congratulations.
So that is all for our movie, TV show news and our trailer park visit. We are going to take a quick break and then we're going to get back for our double feature review of the week, which is for Fallout and then X-Men 97.
Woohoo! This week we have two things to review for you guys. We've been watching these for the last several weeks. So first we're going to go over Fallout, which was released October. Wow, that's great. April 10th, 2024 on Amazon Prime. So this is a series exclusively on Amazon Prime Video. This was created by Graham Wagner and Geneva Robertson Dorvett. I think Dorvett. Yeah. Geneva is also the co-writer for Tomb Raider movie that we just talked about and Captain Marvel. So yeah. Graham did not have any clickable link on Wikipedia. So,
this is good for Graham.
This is good. The Graham start off with a bang.
Yeah.
The characters. So I'm gonna do the characters versus the voice. Should I do both?
Let's just do the main character's voice. The actor and character. And
okay.
Then we can just refer to the rest of the characters.
Gotcha. Because it's healthy.
Yes.
It's healthy. So Ella Purnell plays Lucy McClane. Not McClane. What is it, McClane?
McClane.
Okay. Aaron Moulton plays Maximus. Kyle McCollin plays McLaughlin plays Hank McClane. I'm gonna mess this up. Who is this?
Moses Arias.
Okay, plays Norm McClane. I'm really gonna jack this one up. Zella Mendez Jones.
Yes.
Plays Dane, and then Walton Goggins plays the Ghoul / Cooper Howard.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have a bunch of reoccurring characters, and there's also a dog. Who is in this show as well.
Yes, German Shepherd.
He's cute though. I was like, maybe I can give me a German Shepherd that size because he's kind of small. Runtime is 8 episodes, and each episode was about an hour. I would say there's a couple that go over a little bit over an hour. We don't have anything on budget and box office because this is the TV show. Yeah. We also don't have a cinema score. But we do have some Rotten Tomato scores. The critics gave this a 93, and the audience has given this a 98.
Yeah.
So if that is
like mine,
if that's any indication how this review is gonna go, that is it.
Yes.
Just some fun facts here. This show had 65 million viewers in its first 16 days of release, making it the second most watched title on Amazon Prime since the debut of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, back in 2022. So, even though Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power was bashed to heck, somebody was watching it.
Y'all tuned in for it.
Listen, a lot of people was watching it, and Fallout is now number 2 behind that. Another fun fact or fun tweet that I found was that the designers for Fallout got files from the games, and they used the 3D printing to ensure that things were accurate. So we talked about Fallout, I think, in a previous episode, but this is based on a video game.
Yes.
A very popular video game
franchise of games.
Right, that has several. It's kind of like, would you say it's kind of like a GTA of video games where it has like multiple iterations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They all take place in like the same universe, but every location is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This that's pretty much the summary of it. We're gonna do non-spoilers, and spoilers are just get right into it. I say we get right into it.
Yeah, we can do spoilers.
Okay. So summarize the plot. The show, I'm gonna summarize it as somebody who's never played a video game. Have you played it or have you not played it?
I have played a little bit of Fallout 4.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the plot is about Lucy and her family, or her dad and her brother, live in an underground bunker because there has been a nuclear war that has decimated the above world. So they live in vaults underground with the men, and they have like everything they need. So they have like, fake fields and fake sun, and they have like activities and jobs, and it's basically like upstairs, downstairs without being outside.
They've been down there for generations.
They've been down there for like people were actually born. She was born and her brother were born down there. She basically the whole community was born down there because it's been like 219 years since the bomb went off. They are basically living down there to eventually go back up when it's safe to repopulate the earth, essentially. But something happens, something pops off, and then she has to go to the above world to go find a family member. I don't think that's a spoiler. And in the midst of that, she finds a few quote unquote friends along the way on her mission. I think that sums it up without spoiling.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's do who we liked and didn't like, actors and actress wise.
So I pretty much liked everybody. I don't think I had a character that I disliked. Or that, I mean, there are characters who get on your nerves, but once you watch the show and the way that the world is set up, those individuals are supposed to be there. Yeah. They're intentionally put there to be like foils or whatever. I really liked Ella Purnell. Yes. As the lead. Yes, as the lead. I think it was a good choice. I mean, that's how all the Fallouts start. They start with a person emerging from a vault and who has these like ideals. Like you mentioned, it's the game you choose your own player. You make a player. Yeah, you create a player in the game. The lead player can either be male or female. In this series, they decided for it to be female. Yes. Mm-hmm. Which I agree. I like that choice. It was a good choice. So just some specific information about the show. It takes place in 2077. That's when that's when the nuclear war takes off. Year 2077. Big bomb. Even though it's in the future, it says that after World War II, instead of going in the direction we went with technology, they went retro-futuristic, and that's why it all looks like 50s. Yes, the show actually looks like it could take place back in time, but it's actually the future. Yeah, because the opening sequence is there's a group of people at a cookout, and it looks like it's the 50s because of the way people are dressed and how they're acting. But then when the nukes drop and we see Walter Goggins, which one of my favorite parts of the show, watching him race back with his daughter on horseback to try to avoid the explosions. Like, where y'all going? We get a wide shot of him riding on horseback, trying to rush back home, and it's regular looking Los Angeles. Like, it doesn't look retro futuristic. Right. So the show starts out real close up, zoomed in on this house that looks like it's out of the 50s. But when we zoom out to see the world, it just looks like LA does today. Yep. Like, this is exactly what Sarah Connor was talking about. Skynet. So I really liked Ella Purnell as the lead because she really played like it was a really good choice to have like her happy-go-lucky kind of character with her ideals up against like the savage wasteland of the rest of the world.
She is, to use the Little Mermaid reference I started out with, she is like Ariel. And she, although she doesn't have that curiosity of the above world necessarily, because she's a teacher down there, so she thinks she knows everything, and her people down there have told her everything she needs to know. But life happens, and she got to go to the above world, and she finds out it ain't so nice. It's not like the above world Little Mermaid. It's like the opposite. Yeah, it's garbage, actually. It's a wasteland. It's called the Wasteland.
It's pretty terrible down there.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
So Aaron Moulton, who played Maximus, I really enjoyed him. I saw some people who were watching the show before I started that said that he gave like young Kang vibes, and I do see that. Not just like a young Jonathan Majors, even though they do look kind of similar in their facial expressions.
He could look like he could be a young Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. But his character has that kind of like
will he, won't he?
Yes. Like,
is he evil? Is he not?
He's more like He Who Remains than the rest of the Kangs.
Agree.
Where it's like, you're sinister, but I can't really put my thumb on.
I would have figured him to be the Kang that they found back in the olden days. Like the one that was kind of like
Victor Timely? Yes. You think he's more like Victor Timely?
I got more Victor Timely from him than He Who Remains.
What? I'll go different, and I'll say that he's more like Conqueror Kang from Ant-Man.
Oh, God.
Like when Michelle Pfeiffer thought he was really cool and nice, and then once he gets frustrated, he turns into a completely different animal.
Maximus was real kind of like, I don't know, dog. You seem okay, but then you do something like, he ain't okay. No. He not okay.
So, Kyle MacLachlan's character was cool, but we're in full spoiler, but he wasn't in the show that much. No. I did enjoy Norm, the brother.
I didn't like Norm at first.
No, I didn't enjoy Norm.
I was like, Norm, you annoying me. Go away.
But Norm was smart.
Norm turned it around.
Norm kept Norm's suspicions. Yeah. Kept him interesting.
Norm turned it around when he started to think for himself. Yes. And once he got suspicious that something was popping, Norm was like, I can't settle for this. I was like, you go, Norm.
And I think that's Lucy triggered a lot of the Raider attack.
Right. So I don't know why we beating around the bush. So Lucy's father gets kidnapped by raiders that come into their vault, take her dad, and at the beginning of the show, you don't know why. So they take her. There is a character called Moldaver. That's interesting. They have her as reoccurring instead of main. I would have considered her a main. She is played by Sarita Catherine Louise Koduri. I'm butchering everybody's name, y'all, but y'all know how I do. She plays I'm going to call her, you think she's a villain. Turns out she ain't. But through the whole... We don't know. Okay, fair enough. Through like episodes 1 through 7, and there's only 8 episodes, you think she's the villain. Yeah. And then at the end, you're like, oh, maybe she's not the villain. She comes and takes her dad. So Lucy's whole quest through the whole movie, or TV show, is trying to find her dad. Yes. And she goes through this series of like mishaps and situations. There is a character who's like a lead scientist. I guess he's also not technically main because he dies in the first episode. He's got something, or second episode. He shoots something in his neck that we are clear that this is like a thing of the show. Maximus' character, he's part of a brotherhood. They are aiming to find this doctor, and Lucy runs into the doctor who's like, I can get you to Lee. You just need to take the thing that's in my head to her. Yeah. And by episode 2, his head gets chopped off.
Yeah, he
dies.
Saws his head off because what Moldaver needs is inside his head.
Right. So episodes, I say 2 through 7, we pretty much are on this quest of Lucy, Maximus, and the ghoul all trying to get this dead man's head. the whole show. Yeah. And it's gory. It's nasty. It's what else? Bleak.
But funny.
It has some comedy.
It plays into a lot of comedy.
The set design, the makeup, practical effects, perfect.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They do a very good job. I do appreciate that sometimes they do cut away from the nastiness. So Lucy has to cut off the doctor's head, but we don't see it. But then we see the head, and then as the head gets old and dusty and crusty, we see that too.
Yeah.
But the makeup and stuff is all good.
Yeah. So a big premise of the show is that after the nuclear war and the dust has settled for a while,
right,
all of these different factions have risen up, and they all have different versions of what they feel like the world should be remade into.
Yes.
You have the vault dwellers, who are people who are the rich, who buried underground and hid.
Living a good life, quote
right,
unquote.
and hid during the explosions and just let everybody who was poor and on the surface fend for themselves, because they assumed everybody would just be dead by the time they came out.
They wouldn't.
They have the dream of creating a respectable and polite world.
Utopia of perfectness
and ideals and morals.
Right.
So also you have the ghouls, which isn't necessarily a faction. They're more just like a group of people who survived on the surface. So they look like zombies, and that's Walter Goggins' character. He's the ghoul in the show. But ghouls are living creatures such as humans or bears or any other type of species in the Fallout universe.
Oh, it cannot be just humans.
Yeah, the bear.
Oh, the bear that the Maximus ends up having to tussle with.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a ghoul. Okay.
It's, instead of being killed by the radiation, they were mutated.
Yeah, they look like it. A lot.
The mutation process, referred to as ghoulification, has different effects depending on the species and individual circumstances. So it seems like most ghouls are just sentient zombie people who survive by either taking a special serum that keeps them from turning into mindless zombies.
Like real life I Am Legend zombies.
Like actual zombies.
Right.
With like corpse bones and flesh and all. Or they can survive by eating other ghouls. Or just eating flesh, it seems like.
We do see that a
Yes.
little bit in the show.
Yeah, so...
And I guess we should point out that Cooper, one of the main characters, Walter Goggins, turns into a ghoul through the... Like, we meet him as a ghoul, but we get his backstory before he turned into a ghoul.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting storyline through the whole show.
Yep. We also have the Brotherhood of Steel, which is a different faction. This is a more militant group of people who feel that technology was the cause for the nuclear explosion. So they have a mission to basically collect and hold and hoard and...
Antiques, they call them, I think. So the antiques are like toaster ovens.
Yeah. So they call it safeguarding technology from humanity, because they feel that humans' access to technology is what caused the war.
And they live on like a military base that's got like nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Just mud and dirt and tents.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Transformers. I don't know what to call them.
And then there's like regular people and raiders who are just people who lived on the surface.
Trying to get by.
Who just get by. It's the Wild West
9 to
for
5.
those people out there. So I did like the fact that they had different factions. Lucy encountered each group at least once or twice throughout the show.
Yes.
And got their perspective of what the world is now and what they think the world will be going forward. And you mentioned the scientist that helped her, Siggy. Hold on, I'm gonna butcher his name.
No, listen, welcome to my world. Now it's two of us.
Silgy Wilzig.
Okay.
Who is the scientist who injected himself with we're in spoiler. He injected himself with clean energy, unlimited cold fusion. Is what it's called. He put cold fusion in his skull.
But we don't know that at the beginning of the show,
so that it could be taken to Moldaver.
Right, and we don't know what she want with it.
Right, so that she could use it. But when she first encounters him in the dark, he tells her, "You need to go back home." And she's like, "I'm looking for my dad." He was like, "Okay, well, just know that when you go back home, you probably will not be the same person you were when you left. So just know that this place, being out here, the longer you're out here, it'll change you." And that actually came... I would say
by episode 3.
By the time she cut his head off, she was different.
Right.
Yeah.
And she runs to him the first time in the dark, and she lights a fire. And the reason why I guess he runs up on her, like physically run, is because these roaches have mutated over the centuries, and now they're like dog size. And she's about to get eaten up by this roach, and he has his dog with him. CX404, I think is the dog's name. the dog like attacks, the roach from killing her, and he's like, ma'am, go back where you came from. Yeah. And then she encounter him again, and he's like, ma'am, didn't I tell you go back home? What is you doing here? And then that's when it really kicked off, because not too long after that, she cut that man head off.
Yeah, she does.
He asked her to, though. It was a nice gesture, I guess.
Were there any other specific actors, actresses, characters in the show?
I like Betty. And so Betty is an overseer of the vault that Lucy is from. Mm-hmm. She is also the older black lady in Deadpool.
Yes, the blind lady.
She is also the mom from American Fiction, right? Same lady?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Love her.
She's good. Okay. She's good in this.
She plays the shisty overseer, who doesn't seem shisty in the first couple episodes, but she talks to Lucy's brother Norm like, when people start asking questions or something, she basically tries to discourage him from looking into things. Yeah. And that's why I knew Betty was about that life, and she was trying to be sneaky. But I like her sneaky ways, yes. I guess. And she's bad, but she did good being bad.
By the time we get to the end of the show, it makes a lot more sense why Betty is the way that she is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you. Most of the people were good. All the main cast was good. The reoccurring people like Betty, Lee, those were all, even Thaddeus, who is Maximus's protege, but Thaddeus don't know it's Maximus. And then when you find out they get in a little issue, even he was good, because he played good playing like a naive person, and then he get caught up, po thing. Yeah, that was good too. Yeah, everybody did good here. Good casting.
Fred Armisen was a good surprise.
Fred Armisen.
He was the radio DJ from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, you know who else I liked? Cooper's wife. She was
an interesting character.
So Cooper's wife works for Vault-Tec, who is the company that made all the vaults. Mm-hmm. And they not good. I think when you think of Vault-Tec, think Skynet, basically.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
A bad oversee.
Except it's run by people.
Yeah, it's not AI. Right. It's not AI yet. But she works for this company that built the vaults, and we'll get to why she is the way that she is. But she played a good, loving wife who had her own mission to get ahead in her career, even if that meant doing some dubious things. Yeah. But yeah, I liked her as well. She did good.
Fred Armisen, if you Google him, he was the DJ that Thaddeus was on. He was the one playing the old timey classics over the radio.
Yes. He very small cameo, but
didn't expect him to be in it.
And then he actually a farm that had booby traps, which was not expected. I was like, oh, this man is serious about not being taken advantage of. Yeah. At all. Period. That was good. Okay.
Was there anything that you liked about the show in particular, or anything that you did not like?
How do I want to say it? Every episode fit. There was not one. I don't think there was one filler. It's only 8 episodes, but even in short series, you can get episodes that are like, you didn't need that. But I felt like they placed everything where it needed to be, and every episode had something to move the plot forward.
Yeah, by the time you had a question about something in one episode, they were answering it in the next episode. So it was arranged very well.
Right. Even though the whole show is basically about Lucy trying to find her dad, all the obstacles that she goes, because throughout the whole show, we go from Lucy, the innocent vault dweller, to Lucy about that action, essentially, by the time we get to the end. So each episode, she encounters something, and you like, dang, Lucy about to get it. Lucy do get it, but then she get herself out of it. So there's a scene where the ghoul actually is, so everybody wants the scientist's head, and she the one who got it. So the ghoul finally catches up to her, gets the head, and then sells her off to a chop shop, essentially.
People who harvest good organs for people who are healthy.
So she thinks she's getting sold off to be like a sex slave, and they're like, the robot is like, oh no, we don't do that here.
No decorum.
We just want your kidneys, your heart, and your lung. And you like, dang, Lucy done got caught up in another incident. Yeah. But she get herself out of it. So she's learning through all of her what do you want to call it, misfortunes. Yeah. How to get stronger and stronger. By the end, she like, I'm here, y'all. I'm in the above world. I'm ready for action.
I like that she's naive, but she's never stupid.
You don't think she got some stupid moments?
I don't think she's stupid. I think she's still held, and that's what the evil not evil, but scientist was trying to tell her.
Yeah.
Like, you're holding on to these ideals, and I think she went into every situation thinking she could talk her way out of it.
Yeah,
but she wasn't.
Trying to tell her
she wasn't dumb. There was a particular episode later in the season when she gets to a different vault, and she thinks. She thinks that the people in that vault are doing experiments on the people inside on their residents, and she immediately like kicks into action to try to stop them. Then after they tell her like, no, that's not the situation, she feels bad. But I do think that she's naive because she tries to think everything's like, she tries to keep on her rose-colored glasses so hard.
She does. Even the Google tries to tell her, girl, that's not how that works.
Right. But she just, it just never, it always comes back to bite her.
The wasteland is garbage.
It is. And I think by the end of this season, she's finally like let it go and just been like, okay, if I need to be out here doing what I need to do, I need to actually just go ahead and conform and let go of the idea that I'm going to change anybody out here, because I'm not. They're going to change me.
I also like how the ghoul, I thought the ghoul was actually going to turn to be like a decent person sooner than he didn't. He follows Lucy and he wants the head. And I thought it was going to be a situation where they're going to work together. Not really. He literally sells her to a chop shop. And I was like, is he really selling her? Oh, yes, he is. And then even when she ends up getting out of chop shop and helping him, because he's about to die because he don't have no more drugs, he still ain't quite on Lucy's side. What he said was, oh, you're a McClane. I recognize that last name. And then he comes interested in her dad because he knows her dad. But he really wasn't about trying to help Lucy. No. He bites her finger off.
He does.
Yeah, and she got to go get another one.
Yeah, and it's
sewn back on.
And it's a different finger for the rest of the show.
And it's like gray and nasty looking. Her finger ain't never gonna match.
No.
So not. I like
the fact. He kills a kid.
He killed a kid, didn't he?
He killed that man's son. That boy was not an adult.
Innocent. He couldn't have been more than like 16. So the ghoul was consistent. I was expecting like that typical.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Ragtag, team up, let's work together. Nope.
Yeah. Nope. I thought they were going to position the ghoul as an anti-hero. He's not an anti-hero. He's a bad guy. But he's a bad guy.
For a reason.
He's not the main bad guy.
He's a Kylo Ren.
There are other forces, I think, that are just more evil. He's a bad guy who's bad because he was wronged, not because he's just evil. But he is evil.
Right. So, and then another thing a plot point that I like, I like Maximus' character. I didn't like his character, but I like how he goes back and forth in between trying to do something good, but he too much of a punk to actually follow through.
Until you get in his way, and until you get in the way of what he really wants, and he have no problem taking you out.
So at the beginning of the show, we think that Maximus has sabotaged his friend from getting a robot. I'm just going to call it a robot. And come to find out, the friend did it to himself. But we don't know that till episode 8. Yeah. So the whole season, I'm like, Maximus sabotaged his friend. I don't care what nobody says.
Well, Dane is the friend.
Yes, Dane is the friend. Yeah. And then there's another part of the show where Maximus is like a protege of this dude in the suit who's controlling a robot. He let that dude die.
That was Michael Rappaport.
And he lets him die and takes over the robot.
Which he deserved. I mean,
he did.
He did not deserve to be killed, but he did not deserve to be saved because he was the worst.
So Maximus has this whole arc of like, I want to do good. I want to do different. I haven't experienced anything good in life. But then he make like a wrong decision. You're like, Maximus, I thought you was better than this. So I like, all these characters are complex. Like nobody is really like straight and narrow. Even Lucy, I feel like at the end.
Maximus wants to be a hero even at the cost of doing bad to get there.
And covering it up. He pretty much lies to Lucy about who he is until like episode 7.
He lies to the Brotherhood of Steel. For the whole remainder of the show, he pretty much assumes Michael Rappaport's identity. Yeah. Because he's in the suit and nobody can tell.
So I wouldn't call he's a protagonist with an asterisk.
Yes.
At this point.
And so between the three of them, the ghoul, Maximus, and Lucy, they're all three of them. We start out with Lucy, and we're with Lucy for most of it. Probably by like a couple minutes or so. But it's pretty much 3 main characters. And they all come from like different starting points. They all converge at the same time, and they all progress. So I thought it was a really good cast in total.
Yes, pacing's good. Episode length, the length of the show is good. All of the characters, and there's multiple different plot lines, are all good, and it's not confusing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have any previous knowledge of anything Fallout. Like, I'm sure we missed maybe Easter eggs, or I did because I don't know anything about the game, but you don't need any of that knowledge to watch the show.
What would we change if we could? I don't have any changes I want to submit as of yet. This is season 1. I do think they've barely there's a lot in the world of Fallout. Okay. There are more races than just like humans and ghouls. Yeah. And there are more factions and more different groups of people outside of that. Okay. There's more to the Volts. We saw at the end of this season that the Volts were pretty much used as experiments. Rich people bought up Volts and they created their own test societies just to see what would happen and who would
I would even say call them corporations. It wasn't even just people. Just think of like Walmart and GM buying a set of Volts and to do experiment on living.
I mean, people just really wanted to use the people in the Vault as test subjects
like
for
social experiments,
their version of what they think society should be. And then whoever was going to survive the 200 plus year hibernation, they could emerge. They could be the ones to decide where the world was going after that.
So they made it seem like at the beginning of the show that the Vaults were created to be like, oh, everybody's going to live as long as they need to. And, we're all going to come out together. No, it was basically every man section for themselves.
Yeah, it was everybody's going to die. We hope they're going to die because we're going to set off the bombs. Right. But who gets to inherit the earth let the best man win.
Right. Basically. I wouldn't change. I actually don't think I would change anything.
No, that last scene of them in the boardroom talking about their plans for the Vaults, shocking. Just didn't see it coming.
So to circle back to the wife, Cooper's wife, the ghoul's wife, she actually was very instrumental in setting the bombs off. Yeah. So they basically, it was her suggestion. The Vault Tech is a company who benefited from the bombs going off because they're like, we can't sell Vaults if people don't need them. So let's set off a bomb so people need the Vaults, essentially. And Coop is kind of like suspicious of his wife, not really sure, and that he plans to listen to advice and hears all this.
Well, Moldaver, we find out. Yes. Moldaver also survived the 200 year.
We don't know how.
We don't know how yet. But she was human because she died at the end. Yep. She got shot and died. But she somehow survived 200 years on the surface and didn't become a ghoul. How? Like Walter Goggins did. But she was the one who gave him the listening device, told him that his wife worked for Skynet. Yep. And that he needed to sneak in and listen to her conversation. So that's where he decided to do that. And that's where he found out that information.
And she is also the inventor of the cold fusion. So the cold fusion that the doctor's head has, Lucy is trying to get it to her so she can extract it because she wants to use the cold fusion to turn back power on to the above world. So she's good, quote unquote. But she also led the Raiders to kill people in Vaults. So she's also horrible.
Good at the sake of being a villain.
It's not like she deserved to die, but she did it for a good cause.
I got a reasoning because cold fusion is unlimited clean energy that never runs out. And she said that Voltec acquired it and they're keeping it just for the sake of it's too beneficial and it won't make them any money.
Right, because people need to be in these vaults so we can make the money.
Right. So, I mean, the Voltec people did have to die.
Everybody's bad.
The people who work for the company did have to die. The people in the vaults are innocents because they're 200 years removed. The people who aren't higher ups, right? The generation down people, they're 200 years removed from this planet.
If you were born in the vault, you were basically innocent. But what we also find out is that there is a Vault 31. So there's Vault 31, 32, 33. Lucy's from 33. We find out 32 gets massacred by the Raiders. Yes. 31 is actually a vault of cryogenically froze people from when before the war. So they froze themselves so that they can be unfrozen as needed to repopulate the world.
Well, they're frozen Vault-Tec staff. Yes. Because Vault 30, every vault has a theme and is a different social experiment. Vault 33's experiment, which is Lucy's, is that they wanted to create a society of management, of Vault-Tec management, who would be out because their philosophy was the world can be saved as long as it's managed by the proper people.
Ridiculous.
And that's where their dad, Kyle MacLachlan's character, comes into play, because he is an original employee of Voltec pre-war.
He's 200 plus years old.
Who was cryogenically frozen and thawed out.
Yes.
Met Lucy's mom.
Yes.
And Lucy and Norm's mom in the vaults had a family, but didn't tell them what they were doing.
Exactly. Who else was unthawed? Betty.
Yeah.
Betty is also 200 plus
Betty
years
is
old.
also a Voltec employee.
Yes, and we don't know that because Betty's like older now.
Yeah.
She got like a little, salt and pepper fro or whatever.
Because that's why they act the way that they act, and that's why Betty acts the way that she acts, because they're management.
Right.
They're just management.
Right. So we find out that the elders, I'll call them, are actually unthawed Voltec people from 200 years ago. We find out that Lee was just trying to get the cold fusion to powder Earth, but she killed a bunch of people in the process. And we find out that the ghoul thinks that his family, the wife who helped set off the bombs,
possibly his daughter,
and his daughter, which we don't actually see anymore in the rest of the series.
Family, so I'm assuming
he thinks she's alive. Right.
Yeah.
He wants to find out where they are. So they could be frozen. They could have been unthawed at some point. We basically don't. That's kind of how the whole series ends.
Yeah.
Lucy's dad is found out being a lame, horrible Voltec employee. Scurries off. Lee dies, and then the ghoul and Lucy try to go find his family. And basically, who's behind all this stuff going on? Yeah.
So the show ends where Lucy confronts Moldaver after delivering the head. And she tells him, hey, you came to rescue your dad. I'm going to tell you who your dad really is. He's a Voltec employee.
Trash.
He came up to the surface about 100 years ago.
Trash.
Well, not 100 years ago, but he came up to the surface
at some point
while you were a kid, because your mom found out who he was, tried to take you and your brother and run off. They found safe haven with me in my town where we were rebuilding population.
Because they was doing good in the above world a little bit. They were trying.
But him and his Voltec people came, killed everybody, and burned the village down. And
bombed it
again. And left your mom out here and dragged y'all back to the vault
where she has forgotten that she was a child, so she's forgotten this memory essentially.
So somehow the mom, over the course of her being on the surface, became a ghoul,
a nasty ghoul.
And Moldaver was keeping her as like a pet companion or whatever.
I don't know.
She became like a fully gross zombie ghoul.
Mom was like full on zombie, missing an arm, half her skull was like exposed. She looked real bad.
And we find out that throughout the show we get flashbacks of Maximus's childhood. And he's coming up from the wreckage of some town. And we find out that the town that was bombed was the same town
he was from.
The dad came and bombed to get his kids back. So yeah,
it was just a full circle of like, oh y'all are garbage.
Yeah, everybody is pretty terrible,
except Lucy, I guess, and her mom, who's now a zombie, who Lucy kills,
who's dead.
Lucy put her zombie mama out of her misery, and I get it.
So that'll go into our favorite line or scene. That was my favorite scene. Was that whole ending sequence of Lucy finding out the truth about her dad.
Okay.
And then her deciding to pity kill her mom because she was a ghoul and she needed to go. But also deciding to go with the ghoul to hunt her dad down.
Well, that would probably... Yeah, the last maybe like 10 minutes, I think, of the series would be my favorite. It's 8 episodes, so it's hard to kind of pick a favorite line or scene. I would say... how the whole series wrapped up and set up for the next one was really good. Good.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so final words about the show and our rating.
Are we doing Nicole Kidman's, even though it's not a movie?
Sure. Nicole Kidman watches TV. She's in TV.
5. I would give it 5 Nicole Kidman.
I would give it 5 Nicole Kidman. I had some pacing issues.
Extra butter on her popcorn, too.
I had some pacing issues, but
okay.
The slow moments were there to flesh out the emotion. I'll give them that.
Okay.
So
okay.
I will give it 5 out of 5 Nicole Kidman's for Fallout.
That's basically us telling you to go watch it.
Yeah. So absolutely. It's not worth the theater because it's not there, so don't go.
No.
But it is on Amazon Prime for streaming, so you should absolutely give it a watch. All the episodes dropped at once. We love when they do that. So
yeah, we'll talk about that in our next review.
All right, so that is our review of Fallout. We're gonna keep it going and roll into our review for our next feature, which is X-Men 97. X-Men 97, released on May 10th, 2024. It was created by showrunner Bo DeMayo. It has a long cast of characters.
So long.
A lot of voice characters. So we're not going to read all of the voice actors, but we will read the characters who appear in the show. So we have our cast of X-Men, which includes Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Wolverine, Morph, Rogue, Beast, Gambit, Jubilee, Bishop, Charles Xavier, and Nightcrawler. We also get a new X-Men character, Roberto Da Costa, who plays Sunspot. He is the Jubilee of this section of the X-Men show. In the original X-Men series, Jubilee was the new recruit.
Oh, okay.
And in this series, they use Jubilee to introduce the newest recruit, which is Sunspot.
Okay, I got that.
And then we do have cameos from all different manner of characters in the Marvel Comics universe, which we'll go over if we talk about those specific points. But there are a lot of so many cameos.
But they're really quick and snappy. So it's not like it doesn't feel like a cameo.
Yeah, a lot of them just serve. A lot of them don't even speak. A lot of them just serve the purpose of saying this hero is in this world.
Yeah, wide angle shots.
Exactly.
Of cameos.
It has a runtime of 30 minutes per episode for 10 total episodes.
Yep.
Commercial free.
I think the last episode might have been like 40 minutes.
Yeah. No budget because it's Disney and it's streaming, so they're not going to tell us.
No
box office. They wouldn't tell us even if they had one. Ratings. No cinema score because it wasn't polled, but it does have a Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a critic score of 98%, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has an audience score of 95. So 2 good shows we're reviewing this episode.
If that is any indication of how our review is going to go.
Couple fun facts. First episode had 4 million views worldwide in 5 days following its release, making it the second biggest first season premiere for a full-length animated series on the service since the first season of What If. In 2021. So that's pretty good.
That's very good.
What If had a lot of anticipation behind it. It was also a newer style of animation,
and we didn't know what to expect. Excited. Yeah.
So they went newer, which blew up for the What If, and then they took it all the way back to the 90s, which blew it up for 97. So
Marvel Animation doing pretty good.
It's one of the highest rated MCU projects so far, from both critics and audiences. Everybody seems to love this show. And season 2 has been confirmed, already written. I believe they're beginning production on writing for season 3.
Yes, season 3 has been officially mentioned.
So season 2 and season 1 were both in the can.
Yes,
I believe.
I think they're doing editing on season 2 now, and now they're talking of setting up for season 3.
Okay, so back to the top. Summarize the plot. I can do this one.
I was gonna say I don't even know how you summarize this plot. Go ahead.
So X-Men 97 takes place a couple years after X-Men, the original animated series, which came out and ran from 92 to 97. So in the world of the show, it takes place just a couple of years after the show series finale wrapped up. It's technically a different series.
Right, because you don't need to have watched the previous cartoon to watch this.
No. So all the X-Men stayed on Earth. Charles Xavier had a mysterious illness that caused him to go off-world with his girlfriend, Lalandra, from the Shi'ar Empire, who is an alien of bird people.
Yeah.
And
they don't like Earth.
The plan at the end of that series was they were taking him off world for a little bit for him to get cured, and then he was going to come back. But in the time being, the X-Men, because they're adults, they could manage themselves without him.
Okay.
So X-Men 97 picks off pretty much where that left off. It's the 90s, so mutant rights is still a very contentious point in the world.
A lot of hating going on.
Charles Xavier is now believed to be dead, which I found surprising. They officially killed him off. And he left his estate instead of to Scott and Storm, who are the leaders of the X-Men when he's not present. He left it to Magneto, which I thought was an interesting choice.
I read, sidebar real quick, I read that they initially were going to keep that secret because they put that in the trailer, but a toy came out or something that leaked it. So they were like, crap. Then they put it in the trailer.
It's cool. It's not an incredibly new idea.
Okay.
Magneto has led the X-Men on several occasions. In
comics are always just kind of like, we'll do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And retcon it.
Especially in like Age of Apocalypse section of the comics, which we'll get to at the end of this.
Okay.
It was Charles was dead. It was Magneto that was pretty much the leader.
I like when they kill a main character because you know they're going to come back. Like, let's try it without him and see how it goes.
Absolutely. So, yeah, 97 basically picks up exactly where the original series left off. And they're still facing Sentinels. And they're just facing a new type of bad guy for this section of the show. Right.
Yeah. And it's not... It is kind of, what do you call it, episodic, where something new every...
There's like a through line through each episode.
There's a big through line through each episode, but each episode is also kind of a little something happens different.
They do side quest a lot. I will say that. And a lot of people have mentioned that, and I do think so as well. In these 10 episodes, they ran through like a lot of like
people, that was a
12 issue arcs.
People were like, they literally did 15 arcs in this one episode, and people felt some episodes were too crammed.
I think I know why they did that. I think they really needed season 1 to go off with a bang.
Oh, okay.
And they succeeded in that. And I think going forward they can
tone it down.
Yeah, they can afford to
slow down,
flesh out the stories just a little bit because they started off with such a bang.
Yeah. People were like, they literally covered, or I guess in the episode, because we're in full spoilers, the episode where Jean Grey comes back, and it's, so Madeline Pryor, you're gonna probably have to correct me. Madeline Pryor is actually Jean at the beginning.
Yes.
But we don't know that till Jean show back up.
Right.
And people were like, y'all literally just covered all of that storyline in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the Madeline Pryor was around for a very long time in the comics before they realized that there was a swap. And
it is literally one episode.
Yeah.
It's still only one episode. People are like, okay. I mean, I guess.
But I mean, they fast track through all of the comic arcs, but they do a good job at hitting the key moments.
Yeah,
like the big splash. Like if you Google that, if you Google Madeline Pryor, the big splash pages you'll see are the moments when she's like in her black leather outfit and she's like doing her telekinesis. So yeah. As
somebody who didn't read all the comics, it didn't bother me. I guess maybe because I was ignorant was bliss in that situation. I was like, I had no idea. It was good to me. I liked it.
And it's still a kid's cartoon. And
it is. It has some adult themes, though, I would say.
I think the characters are adult.
Okay.
And they do a good job of making the characters in a kid's show or in a young adult show seem like adults without like dumbing them down. Like they didn't seem like the Rugrats parents.
They was not facing Rugrat parent problems.
They were actual adults who had actual adult issues.
Right. You're right about that.
Okay, so actors, actresses.
I was gonna say, how do we even
characters do that? And characteresses? No, I'm just characters that we didn't like or did like.
I did. Well, I feel like we said the last couple episodes. Well, we liked everybody. It's true. I would have liked more Storm. I'll do it this way. I would have liked more Storm.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that they didn't do the typical let's focus on the big three. Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops is redeemed in this, so we won't even. I'll say Cyclops is more of a redemption story for him. His character.
This is course correction for Cyclops.
So he's definitely main lead on this. But I like the fact that typically I feel like X-Men always wants to focus on Wolverine.
Yeah.
And this show does not. Now Wolverine get his key moments, but it's not the Wolverine show. It's actual X-Men, and man includes everybody.
Yeah, it's. So for somebody who did read the comics, I can see how it's very easy for somebody who did not to forget how cool the X-Men look. Even as somebody who did read the comics and still watches a lot of the movies. Because they chose to put Wolverine in the back burner and not to make him such the focus like they did in the movies, when they show the X-Men using their powers, it's like, oh, I forgot the X-Men were this cool because all we get is Wolverine all the time.
Slashing people with his claws all the time. Yeah. And he's there.
We don't get Morph turning into all these different characters. We don't get Rogue flying around. We don't get Gambit doing more with his abilities than throwing cards because we're not looking at Wolverine all the time.
Right. I got a confession. I didn't even know Rogue could fly.
You didn't know Rogue could fly?
She started flying and I was like, when did Rogue know how to fly. So that was good.
You would never know because and it's not just a Hugh Jackman thing. In the cartoons, they had like Wolverine and the X-Men. And that was the show. And it was about Wolverine. It was about the rest of the X-Men who are like Omega level superpowered mutants corralling around Wolverine and following his lead. Yeah, it makes no sense.
I like that they took the focus and gave other characters spotlight. So Rogue, and they didn't, even when it came to Rogue, they didn't just focus on the fact that Rogue couldn't touch people.
Right.
Like we got one scene, maybe one or two scenes of that specifically. Like she has a speech where she talks about how she can't touch Gambit. But they didn't like make that the focus of her character, which was like, thank God. I know she got something else going on. She can fly.
Yeah. I really liked Scott.
Yes.
Like you said, it was a good
Everybody
redemption.
was like, Scott is actually a man's man.
It was a good redemption for Scott. They really put Scott Cyclops has always been Captain America for the X-Men. And they did a really good job at making him the Captain America for the X-Men.
Yes.
Where his ideals are more close to his group of people. Just like Captain America in the Civil War arc was like, I'm for my people.
Right.
Like, superpower people, we stick together. Cyclops is very much that for the X-Men.
Yes, he was. I mean, there's some, when he does try to reason with somebody, he's reasoning not with a human.
Yes.
He actually has a conversation with the reporter that's a human. And he's like, the only reason why y'all still here is because we ain't turned up. So how about you leave me alone?
Yeah.
How about that, human?
And we got to see a lot more emotional side of him and how much how big he is on like family and like his loved ones and protecting them. I thought that was good.
He even did a little mental cheating.
I like that we got more Jean Grey not in crisis.
Yep, we got Jean Grey about that action.
We got Jean Grey having normal moments where she's just like bonding with Storm or bonding with Scott, and she's not constantly having headaches or constantly being plagued by the Phoenix
passing out,
by the Phoenix creeping up her back or something.
Yes,
we got regular Jean being able to be a helpful member of the team.
Yes,
and she showed out. She had her moments.
She had several moments that were good.
I especially like Madeline Pryor. They went in a different direction with Madeline Pryor.
Okay.
In the comics, she's usually, when she does her turn, she sticks to she's evil Jean Grey going forward.
Okay, they kind of let her have a little normal life.
Just recently in the comics, they wrote her as kind of like, okay, she's not evil, but she's like a boss. But now they made her a little bit more. They made
personable.
Her nice. Yeah. They made her more relatable. She was a woman who had her life stolen. She's trying to rebuild. And she also has a son that's off. She has a weird relationship with her baby daddy, his wife.
Right, his actual wife.
Son.
Right, and then it's actually her son, not the real wife's son.
Right.
It was crazy. And then Scott's like, I don't know what to do with both of y'all right now. And I lost my son. So I'm stuck.
Resurrecting Morph was a good idea. He died in episode 1 of the original series.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right?
I like Morph. Morph was written, whoever wrote the lines was Morph. Good job. He was funny.
Yeah, bringing him back as the comedic foil was an excellent decision.
It was fun.
I echo your sentiments on Storm. We could have gotten
more Storm.
We could have gotten more Storm. I feel like they may have sidelined her because she's a little too OP, but that's too bad. You just have to deal with that.
Yeah, right. She's Storm. I do like that when we did get Storm, the relationship, I didn't realize, I guess they didn't show this as well in the movies, like her relationship with Jean.
Yeah, they're like sisters.
And they portrayed them as sisters in this.
But you don't get that in other media.
No, I was kind of like, oh, y'all close.
Like co-workers.
Y'all like BFFs of BFFs.
Regular X-Men movies. And the Fox X-Men, they're like co-workers.
Right. And I like their sisterhood being shown in this. It was really good.
Absolutely.
Was really good.
And I did like Magneto.
I liked
him being the lead and center of attention. But that'll roll into the one character I did not like, and I did not care for Bastion.
Oh, really?
I thought Bastion was boring. He was Ultron. He's James Spader complaining about being created by Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And being mad because he picked up a little bit more Tony Stark's characteristics than he would like. And he doesn't realize he's just like humans.
I would have if we talking about villains, I would prefer Ultron, I guess. Honestly.
Yeah, and I prefer James Spader. I do. I prefer the back and forth between James Spader and Tony Stark between Ultron and Tony Stark than I care about Bastion's back and forth with anybody on this show.
Sinister, who is also a villain in this, I liked more than Bastion. So yeah, maybe Bastion might have been my least favorite, even though he's the main villain in this show. Yeah, you're right.
I appreciate that.
I was like trying to think of an alternative. I'm like, I actually think
I appreciate that it's Bastion who forces Magneto's turn up.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But as a main villain, I thought he was
a little weak.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
He was just evil for evil's sake.
And we actually don't see Bastion until maybe halfway through.
And he even stole Ultron's move by taking a piece of Earth, floating it into the stratosphere, and then trying to hurl it back into the planet.
It was funny. He did that, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, I guess it didn't look big enough for me. I guess maybe because of the cartoon, I was like, this little.
Maybe because it's about asteroid impact and our size.
Right.
But
how big was the asteroid to kill the
dinosaurs? He gave me lesser Ultron vibes, even though MCU Ultron is nothing like comic book Ultron. Okay. But I mean, he was better than Bastion.
You're right. I would agree with you. He was probably we doing least faves. He would probably be my least fave.
Ultron gave us Wanda. Bastion didn't give us anything.
He gave us a lot of conversation. He talked a lot. Like, Bastion, hurry up, say what you got.
He did, and James Spader's better at monologuing.
And he kept coming back. I'm like, oh, Jesus, kill him, cut his head off, something. But he was a sentinel, so you couldn't really kill him easily.
What would we change if we could?
I would have liked the season to be a little long.
I don't know. Somebody said we need to go to hour episodes, and you know what?
No.
That's the exact issue that I have with Invincible.
No.
Too
Doesn't
much
need to be
filler.
an hour. I was going to say, what did we say at the end of I liked that this was week to week.
Yeah.
You were saying how on Fallout you liked that it was all dropped at once. I actually liked that this was week to week because so much, like you said, they put 12 storylines in one. So much happened that at least gave us a moment to digest what happened before the next episode came out. And it gets a good people to conversation and speculation. And I feel like it kind of gives people like a community when it's like week to week versus just dropping it all at once.
Yeah, it falls in line with the WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they give you a little bit. They end it they always end on a stinger.
Every
keep
episode
talking for the rest of the week until the next episode.
Yeah, I would say every episode, but maybe the Jubilee episode ended on like a what the.
And that's why I don't think we need hour-long episodes. Because what I don't need is extended Jubilee sequences. I know that Jubilee has a corner. I know Jubilee has a corner of fandom, but
right. I didn't mind the Jubilee episode was probably the filler, even though
really
Storm's comeback was at the end of her episode.
That should have been the full episode.
Agree. That would be my one critique is that. More Storm. I already said that.
Yeah. I know there's no way to say that without sounding mean, but I don't care about Jubilee.
I was going to say, we like Jubilee.
I mean, I like her. I just don't need to be a part of. She's good as a person who's tagging along on somebody else's more interesting quest. She does not have an interesting quest of her own. I did not think her trip into Mojo World was very interesting.
No,
It gave her something to do, absolutely.
It did.
And I do think she's a fun character, but she's not a main character.
I liked her at the end where she was fighting with Bastion. He said
that was a really good moment.
He said something about, "Are you gonna kill me with the 4th of July?" And she was like, "Yes, I actually am."
Yeah, she was like, "I haven't heard that before."
Right.
So she has very cool moments, but she was part of that ensemble moment, which made her very good. Is there anything else I would change? I don't think so. I think the 30-minute length was
pacing was stuffed, but for somebody who didn't read the comics, I didn't really realize it until somebody pointed it out, so it didn't really bother me.
And honestly, if you want the full fleshed out comic book experience, you know what you should do? Pick up a book.
Hey, reading's fundamental.
It's a TV show. They have to squeeze in everything good that they can. So that's not really
and I mean, based on the critics and the audience score in our review, I don't think too many people thought it was too much of a negative. Anyway,
you're in the minority,
right? Let's do. Do you have a favorite episode out of the 8? I know it's hard to think over. I'm like skimming the Wikipedia. Like, now what happened in each one of these?
I don't remember all the episode titles. But let's see.
I'll go first. My favorite one would be, so at the end, Genosha, there's a genocide on Genosha. That is like the big...
Remember it. Episode 8.
There is episode 5. That was the one where everybody was like tripping.
Sorry. Episode 8 was Tolerance is Extinction.
So there's a genocide on Genosha. So Genosha is where they have like it's basically like a mutant utopia in a sense, where they can live free and, you know, be cool, not worry about being harassed by humans who are trash in this whole series. And Bastion, we don't find this out till later, but Bastion, we think Magneto's dead, but come to find out, Bastion's alive. I mean, Bastion saved. I don't even know if they don't describe how that happened. I'm gonna overlook.
They don't explain how that happened. No,
they don't explain how Magneto survives. But there comes a point in a future episode later on where Magneto gets freed, and Magneto basically has this speech of like, is the Magneto is right part of the series. And Magneto gets free and he basically turns he does a big EMP on the Earth and shuts down all of the Sentinels. That was my favorite because it proved Magneto was right. Like, it proved that Magneto is Mr. Like, I don't trust these humans. They garbage. They don't treat us like anything good. I don't want to treat them like anything good. So I'm about to turn up. And at the end of the episode, you're like, yes, Magneto's about to turn up. That was my favorite. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that'd be episode 7? I can't remember which one it is.
That was the first episode of Talented Extinction.
So number 10. Nope. 8. 8. Episode 8.
It's a fun fact about Remember It. So in the comics, the Wild Sentinel that was sent to Genosha to kill all of the mutants was not sent by Bastion. They made that up for the show. It was originally sent by Cassandra Nova. Now, if that name sounds familiar, Cassandra Nova is the main villain in Deadpool versus Wolverine, and she's in the Abyss. And the Abyss, we know, is a timeline's trash can for when you commit atrocities. So maybe they threw her in there because she did do it in her universe.
I would like that.
Cassandra Nova is also the evil twin of Charles Xavier, who he killed in the womb because she tried to kill him in the womb.
They was turning up.
He murdered her back.
Got his lick back.
She she never became a mutant.
Okay.
She was kind of just like a weird
person
that had like.
She looked like powder.
She does look like powder. She had like some of Charles' abilities, but she's not really a mutant. She's like a parasite person.
She don't look too bad though to be a parasite.
No, she looks like Charles. I guess my favorite episode would probably be the last episode.
So episode
Tolerance's Extinction, part 3.
Okay, so season finale.
10. Yes. That would probably be my favorite episode just because it had 2 planes of action. Everybody had their turn up moment except for Wolverine.
And Storm.
Yeah, and Storm. They really did all that, bringing Storm back to her full powers, and then she got choked out by Bastion. So, okay. Sure.
It wasn't perfect, okay? It's a 98%, not 100.
I liked Cyclops' moments. Cyclops had great moments fighting Bastion.
He did.
I did like the sequences of Charles trying to repair Magneto's mind after he tore it apart.
I love those. He did. He jacked
He had to.
He did.
It was him or the world.
Magneto was right, but he was also wrong.
He went too far.
He was both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
He too far to the left.
My favorite episode was when he was right. Your favorite episode was when it was proved he was wrong.
Yes. And I did like the Phoenix cameo we got where Jean finally had a Phoenix moment that wasn't about destroying the world. Because that seems to be all movies and TV care about, displaying with the Phoenix. The Phoenix
she can
is
have
a force for good.
Right. She can have a big impact on a smaller scale, perhaps.
Yeah. Maybe. And it didn't result in her using the Phoenix and then dying after.
Right. She got to live this time. She was still
useful after the fact.
She took out one person and then was like, okay, now I'm going to use the rest of my power to take out somebody else.
Yeah. And somehow she used her Phoenix powers to turn. Well, I mean, the Phoenix is like the being of all creation or whatever.
Okay.
So you have to suspend your disbelief. The Phoenix is magical. She could turn all the robot people back to humans.
Yeah. There were a few things that weren't explained.
No.
Kind of like, you're like, it's a cartoon. I'm going to let it go. But
I think they just changed, because they changed things. They didn't really have a way to write it to, like Magneto surviving the Wild Sentinel.
Right.
He was never in that situation in the comics.
Right.
Because it wasn't Bastion who did it. Magneto just survived. So they didn't have to explain how he got out of the green bubble.
Right.
To live.
So to explain it real quick, in the episode Remember It is episode 5 where we see the genocide on Genosha. Magneto is trying to protect a couple mutants. One of them's a kid, and he has like this protection bubble, and he's telling the kid, don't be afraid, I'll protect you. And everybody dies. we think everybody dies. The kid dies, the whoever else was with Magneto dies, but somehow he lives. But we never explain how he survived that, or we missed it.
Yeah. Somehow he was teleported out of that blast, but Leech died anyway. So Leech was the kid.
I was about to say the kid is gone.
Yeah, the kid is dead. They never bring him back up again.
The Genosha was bad. That's why that's not my favorite episode, because it was real sad. But it was good though. It was a very good episode.
Let's see, favorite line or scene.
I
have a couple.
Yeah, I was gonna say Magneto calling the politicians bigots.
Yeah, and telling them, please don't make me let you down by proving myself to be a better person.
And then in the end, that's exactly what happened.
I mean, he tried.
He did. He gave a good
for Magneto. He gave an honest effort.
He gave a good effort. What was one of yours?
I have a couple.
Okay.
Milky Way Ghetto is one.
Oh yes. So Xavier's sister-in-law, or soon-to-be sister-in-law, while he's on the planet frolicking with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
His sister ain't about that, and she calls Earth a Milky Way ghetto.
Yeah, Deathbird. I really liked that.
Yes.
And I like the fact
Iconic.
that Deathbird was in her evil costume, so she clearly already had her evil moment, and then it calmed her down and brought her back, because she was still in her evil getup.
When we get to her, she's already kind of like, oh, my sister, you should have told me, because she like somewhere turning up where she ain't supposed to be. Right. It seemed like she's like, oh, let me calm down for a second.
So I did like that.
That was a good
Milky
line.
Way Ghetto was a good pull.
Yes,
I liked a couple of Morph's moments. Pretty much all his cameos. His cameos in the first episode where he's taunting Wolverine about Jean and Cyclops getting married.
I actually thought he was Jean, and I was like, Jean wouldn't say that, and I was like, oh, this ain't Jean, it's Morph.
I liked him taunting Gambit about Rogue and Magneto constantly having the training room reserved.
Yes, that was the thing.
He was very good at saying the things that. He was taunting Cyclops about Xavier leaving the school to Magneto. Like, he was very good at saying the things nobody else would say, but he would do it in the form of the person, which was like super insulting.
And when you get to the scene, you don't know it's him yet till he transforms back. Like, the character knows, but we like, why is he talking to him like that? Oh,
yeah. And sometimes with Morph, you have to be careful doing other stuff while watching the show, because you'll look away. Yeah. And then you'll look back and there's Juggernaut. And it's like, where did Juggernaut come from? And then he turns back and it's like, oh, it was Morph. It's Morph, right. Yeah. I did that with Psylocke. When he turned into Psylocke, when they were in the early episodes, during the trial of Magneto.
Oh, okay.
I think. Or no, I don't think it was the club. There was a trial of Magneto when they had to fight off the protesters, right? So he turned into Psylocke.
Somebody was like bombing the court or whatever.
Yes. He turned into Psylocke, and I had looked away and I looked back and Psylocke was there. I was like, where did Psylocke come from? And then he turned back into Morph. I was like, oh, okay, it's Morph. So
I really like Morph. Another line I like is when Rogue actually ends up joining Magneto. And she is basically giving her speech to her X-Men, because they like, girl, don't go with him. Don't do it, girl. Don't do it. And Rogue is like, when are y'all, how long is it going to be for someone else dies? Jean, been there, done that. I was like, now hold on. You ain't got to be rude, Rogue. You can just say your little piece and go, ma'am. This is rude. But it was good. That was funny.
Rogue had great moments. Rogue had, after Remy died, she had
Rogue was not playing.
She had her Wanda moments where she hit up that military base.
Kicking behind and not taking no names.
She ran into Thunderbolt Ross.
She did.
We had a Ross cameo.
Captain America.
He said that, I thought he thought the X-Men were the good guys, and she said, "Oh, sweetie, you killed all the good ones."
Yeah. Yes.
I liked when she tossed Captain America's shield into the stratosphere.
That was funny, because I thought she was going to take because they show us a little preview that he shows up. And we're like, oh, snap, she going to get the shield. She get mad, like, oh, you ain't going to use this? Well, then you don't need it either. Right. And just chucks it into the Swiss Alps.
If you're not here to help me, you don't need this.
I thought she was going to take it and use it. She said no.
I loved when she did that. I loved when she dropped Trask off that building.
Favorite moment. We ain't there yet, but we can go on, jump back and forth. Favorite moment for sure.
Rogue Gambit dies, killing the Wild Sentinel, because the only thing that can kill the Wild Sentinel is itself. That's Gambit's specialty. So he blows up the Wild Sentinel. Very sad. Rogue immediately begins to track down the people responsible.
She turns into Wanda.
Of course, she runs into... eventually, she gets to Trask because he's the creator of the Sentinels.
Right.
So he would know where it came from. That man's about to off himself anyway.
Yes, he's like, you know what? I'm done for the world. I've done enough bad. I got to get out of here.
So she was like, well, let me help you. But before you do, I need you to answer some questions. So she tries to ask why he did it and where the Wild Sentinel came from. He says he ain't got no answers. And she said, well, I ain't got no hands. So she drops him off the roof.
Look, no hands.
To his death. And he, for all intents and purposes, we think she's committed murder. I mean, he survived, but she committed murder.
Well, the crazy part of that scene, the X-Men are like, did she just drop
There
that
were people,
man?
they watched, they have the ability to intervene and help. They decided
But they didn't think she was going to do it. They were like, oh, she just holding him, dangling to see if he talk. And she just let go.
Jean could alter the chemistry of people with her thoughts.
So what you trying to say is they weren't mad, they was just shocked.
No, yeah. They wasn't mad.
Like, I ain't mad you did it. I just didn't know you was going to do it.
Nightcrawler could have teleported down there and got him.
Nobody, you right. They stood there like, that's so sad.
That's when it's revealed that Bastion has actually turned a very large chunk of the human populace into androids. So Trask was actually an android, a prime sentinel who is controlled by Bastion.
And that's where I think that's where we first find out about Bastion, right? I think.
Yeah, that's when it's first revealed that Bastion is the one behind all of this.
Behind Genosha and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was good.
Rogue had really and then that was like the last big. Well, no, she had one more big moment against Bastion. She finally got her revenge beat down.
She got her lick back,
and she did a very good job.
The final scenes of everybody going at Bastion was good. Now he wasn't dying.
It reminded me of
good effort.
It reminded me of Makari in the Eternals.
Oh yes, where she just was like pew pew.
Yeah,
she was kicking that man's behind.
Yeah, pew, pew, pew. Very good scene. The action was very good.
I agree.
Did you have any other lines?
I agree. It was so many. Magneto had a lot of good. Favorite line for Magneto is when. Traitor chick, I don't know what her name is, the one human that was a traitor, she basically tells Magneto, like, because they're gonna make Magneto like the mayor of Genosha or whatever, and she's like, normally they don't let terrorists become leaders, and he was like, well, y'all politicians are all terrorists, so what's the difference? Everybody who's a leader is an awful person. Paraphrasing, but Magneto was like, and he has a cup of coffee, so he kind of like sipping his tea, and he's like, girl, please, all y'all politicians is terrorists anyway. Next. Yeah, I like that scene.
So the last two scenes that I'll leave down as my favorite, I liked Storm's Man of Steel moment when she got her powers back.
Yes, very good, because we was waiting on it.
Yes.
We was like, where is Storm? Because they take her, she loses her powers in episode 2. And then she goes off.
Get her out of there quick.
She goes off and like, I can't do it, y'all. I can't be around y'all. And then she gets them back later. Yes. That was good. Good.
She meets her
boo,
her temporary boo Forge, because we know that doesn't last very long, but it's good for them.
Well, yeah, I guess in the end, we don't even know where Storm is. So
we don't know where Storm is.
The show ends and we don't know where Storm is.
But we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But the second, the other scene I'll say is my favorite would be Madeline Pryor versus Magneto. Excellent.
Ooh, good one.
So good.
She was whipping that man. You know what? You don't see Magneto get it very often, but when he does get it, and he got it from her, she was just like chopping that man up, like ching, 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 ching.
Very good, very good.
Magneto was great, but seeing Magneto get his butt kicked was also great.
Yeah.
I can't deny that. Madeline was cutting that man up.
Okay, so is there anything we would change if we could? Any improvements we would make?
Nah, no? It was good. We already said more Storm. Some people felt like some of the black characters were sidelined, and I was kind of like, they did get rid of Bishop in the first episode.
Yeah, that was strange, but it seems like they might be gearing up for him to be playing more of a role in the second season.
So we're gonna give him
if that's part of the plan, that's fine.
We're gonna give him a second chance in season 2.
Who would like this show? I think it has something for everybody. I think it's absolutely its main target audience is children, but
I think young adults, and then people who grew up with the X-Men, I think are the audience.
It has a lot of the subject matter that's similar to Invincible, but if you don't want to deal with a lot of the gore, or if you're sensitive to like the gore, how inappropriate Invincible can be, or graphic.
Yeah, graphic.
X-Men 97 is great alternative viewing.
Agree.
Absolutely.
Agree. Now, do we want to talk about the ending real quick?
Yeah, so we can talk about the finale. So after defeating Bastion. Well, Bastion kind of defeats himself. He jumps into like some type of black hole, so he's not gone for good. He'll come back up at some point. No, because Bastion's never true. Nobody's ever truly gone.
I guess.
But they are sucked into some type of
time space
warp, and we're left with Bishop kind of saying that we don't know who did it, but it was clearly done deliberately. Maybe Kang. Ooh. Who knows? But in comic books, while they were fighting Bastion, the Avengers were fighting Kang. That's why they weren't there to assist with stopping the asteroid.
Explaining it.
In the comics, the Avengers are having their Kang moment.
They're too busy. That's funny.
And so we get different pieces of the X-Men that were in space
Factions.
Put into different time periods. We get the past, we get the present, and we get the future. The past, we have ancient Egypt. We have Rogue, Nightcrawler, Charles, Magneto, and Beast are stuck in ancient Egypt, and they run into Sabanur, who is Apocalypse. Young Apocalypse before he becomes Apocalypse.
And when I went back and watched it, I saw the markings on his mouth because I didn't know who he was at first, but I was like, now I see who he is.
And it seems like Apocalypse in comics lore is the first mutant ever, and in the original X-Men show they fought Apocalypse very early on in the series, and they realized they weren't able to defeat him because he's immortal, but they could trap him inside of his vessel, and they kind of left him there trapped. So I think they're realizing that we're at the beginning of this dude, we're gonna have to do this again.
That's why B says oh dear.
Yeah. I think they're realizing that this is we're at the beginning of this dude that we could never kill.
He looking at them like, hey y'all, and they like, oh god.
Right.
Okay, that explains it.
We get the future, which is Jean and Scott,
her man.
They are running into some type of destitute future, and they see a younger version of Cable.
Yes, Nathan. His government name.
Yep. And they run into Clan Ascani and Mother Ascani, who's the leader of the Ascani tribe. For people who will not know that is Rachel Summers. She is their daughter.
You know what? Somebody said they didn't want to say who it was, and I was like, well, who is it? I didn't know they had a daughter.
They have 3 kids.
Oh.
They have 4...
A whole gaggle of kids.
They have a lot of kids. Okay. They have Nathan, they have Rachel, they have Hope.
Now we'll have to explain that in season 2. It's like, now how is she born?
It's because all of their kids end up in different time periods. That's like fun. Their thing. They all end up raised incorrectly.
I was gonna say birthdays ain't easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, in the short version, they sent Cable to the future. They sent Cable to the future to be raised for his virus.
Right.
Unknowing that they would eventually have a daughter who does most of the raising of Cable.
Oh, convenient.
Yeah.
Convenient.
And then in the present, we get Forge.
Yep.
Who is still on Earth with the rest of the X-Men. Jubilee, Sunspot.
Right. And Cable is somewhere unknown.
Probably not at the X-Mansion, but he's in a different base.
He's somewhere in present time.
Yeah, just AWOL.
At Arby's or something.
And Forge is working to bring he's working to recruit new X-Men.
Right, because he thinks everybody is dead.
But Bishop walks in and he's like, nope, they're not dead. They're just in different time periods and we got to go around and rescue them.
Got to get the team back together.
On the board in front of Forge, we get like some pictures of other X-Men characters. Very interesting. We also get a picture of Scarlet Witch, who's on the missing board.
And her brother.
It says she's off-world.
Where
probably fighting Kang because they were off world.
Oh.
But
or vacation.
I find it very interesting that she was on the board at all, her and Quicksilver, because they've never been members of the
People are trying to say that this is a storyline where they're Magneto's kids.
Yeah, even when they're Magneto's kids, they've never been X-Men.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They're mutants, just not X-Men.
Yeah, they went from the Brotherhood because they were Magneto's kids and he recruited them. And then after they realized that they didn't want to do evil, they immediately went to the Avengers. So they never took a pit stop at becoming X-Men.
So okay. I don't know, but I was happy to see Wanda, even though her face was covered.
Yeah, so I think it was they did it to start conversation.
They did because they zoomed in and zoomed into that picture. Like, this Wanda, y'all see Wanda over here?
Also in the present day, we get an end credit stinger, which shows Apocalypse in the ruins of Genosha.
Yeah,
and he digs up one of Gambit's cards and He has a
Gambit's card.
He has a Thanos moment. It's exactly from Avengers 1, where the henchman tells Thanos to challenge the Avengers is to court death. And Apocalypse picks up Gambit's card and says, so much pain, so much death.
He says, didn't he say something about like my kids?
My children, because he's the first mutant. So he considers himself the birth of the father of the mutant race.
Oh, now I did a little Googling and somebody said that Gambit eventually joins Apocalypse's crew.
Yeah, so Apocalypse resurrects Gambit's corpse and turns him into his horseman of death, because Apocalypse collects the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and death is one.
So
of
Gambit
them.
gonna come back. He gonna be.
So we're gonna have a White Vision moment with Gambit.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
I wonder if they're gonna correct it and make him whole again, because he did the same thing with Angel. Angel turned out fine.
Okay.
Well, Angel didn't die, but Angel turned out fine. After being tampered with.
Rogue gonna be jacked up when she see Gambit again.
I mean, that's if she makes it back to...
All right, she in a different timeline.
I don't know if defeating Apocalypse in ancient Egypt will affect killing him in present day. So maybe that's how they defeat him, is kill him before his rise to power. They do the whole get him while he was a baby thing.
The thing that Don Cheadle was
Rhodey
trying to
was
do.
saying,
yeah, like just cut his neck off as a baby. And they like, you can't do that.
That's pretty much where the show leaves us off.
Mm-hmm. It's a good conclusion of the Bastion storyline for now, but it also sets up, what could potentially be happening for the next one. It was a good ending.
Absolutely.
It was a good ending. But yeah, I would recommend this to anybody who's interested in a good show that has, if you like X-Men, you would like this.
Absolutely. Everybody likes X-Men.
And even if you haven't watched it before, you don't need to have any type of like backstory. It's fun though to know it, but you can still watch it.
And it picks up a lot of anime influences. So if you're into that, this absolutely, the action sequences this are unmatched.
Super unmatched. Good. The Magneto Madeline Pryor scene was just like
the illustration.
Perfection.
The scene of Scott in the last episode when they say their goodbyes to Cable and he cries while he's taking his visor off and he blows the rock. Oh my God, it's so good.
That was so good. And then there's somebody was slapping somebody with a robot arm. Beast. When he was like slapping somebody around with a robot with a sentinel arm, that was really good.
That was Bastion was slapping around Cable with his own arm too.
Yes, they was like, y'all doing this again, but reversed. I like it.
And the scene where Jean and Scott are saying their final goodbyes to Cable, and
that
Jean
really
suppresses
good.
Scott's optic blast so that he can show Cable that they have the same eyes. She's like, they're good eyes. I was like, oh, this is so good.
When also the scene where they send Cable away was very good, because Scott was like, I don't want no parts of this. Like, y'all sending my child away. I'm not down for this. But they had to do what they had to do. But Scott was like, I regretted it. I didn't want to do that.
I like seeing Jean and Scott being able to being able to be together and have moments where they're not worried about Jean dying. Or Jean being
they had a different concern, a valid one, which was her son. Oh, right. Another scene that I was like, this is crazy. Now I'll wrap it up. Was when Jean was about to give birth at the human hospital, and the doctor was like, "Oh, I can't do human babies," and Rogue was like, "Excuse me." Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, humans is trash in this, and I'm okay with it.
Crazy,
because y'all just foul.
So we pretty much recommended this to everybody.
Yeah, go watch it, y'all.
Final thoughts about the show and our rating.
6 Nicole Kidman. No,
yeah.
5.
It's another 5.
It'll be another 5 with extra butter on her popcorn. I wish they had like how they did Rings of Power, where you could watch like the first 2 episodes or the first episode in theaters.
Yeah,
I would have liked that.
They should definitely screen the first 2 episodes as like a major event for season 2.
That was fun. That was fun to do for us commenters.
They've acquired the fandom.
For sure.
Is it worth the theater? It should be.
It could have been.
So absolutely stream it. It is on Disney Plus. All episodes. It's a weekly release, but now that all of the episodes are out, I would absolutely binge it.
Yes, because it's quick. You can do it in the afternoon. For sure.
And they blow through so many storylines so quickly, and they're pretty digestible. So I would absolutely just shudder in and stream this. This is a really good show.
Great show, actually.
All right, so that is the end of our double feature review for X-Men 97 and Fallout. Go watch them as soon as possible, but not too soon, because we probably won't be getting another season of each for probably a year or plus.
I don't think Fallout has even started.
No, so
we'll get X-Men first, probably.
Watch them, but it's okay to take your time. You won't be getting more for quite some time.
Right.
Okay, so what are we going to be reviewing next week?
It is Furiosa time.
Yay!
Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, will be our next show. We're very excited for it. It also got reviewed at Cannes, and it got good reviews.
Yeah, it's being called one of the best
It got like
sequels.
a 10-minute standing up. Cannes is where they like time the standing ovations, which I'm like, this is so pretentious. But whatever. It got a long one.
Yeah.
So, and it's already got Rotten Tomato scores as well from critics. So those are also good. So yeah, that'll be it.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
If you like our show, please share it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast streaming app, or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a voice message and say something nice to us only. We don't listen to negative things. No,
we delete.
But you can only leave nice voicemails.
Delete.
And if it's good, we can play it on the show. You can also follow us on Twitter at vaguelynerdypod or IG at vaguelynerdypodcast. And you can reach us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also watch our animated format of our podcast on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com as well. All right. Until next week.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.